rear-facing, forward-facing. I think I have it right.
Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Are your children in the right car seat for their age and size? Don't think you know. Know you know. Go to safercar.gov/the right seat.
I know my child's in the right car seat, or else I wouldn't get in the driver's seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college. This is beyond a simple donation. It's the opportunity for America to invest in its kids and take an active stake in the future of the country. The return on your investment isn't money. What you get back is knowing you protected our potential. So one day, that potential can grow up to become surgeons and architects, executives and engineers, people who can change the future just by being a part of it. My name is Alicia, and I am your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. A public service announcement brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
This is Nnamdi Asamoah. I play football for the Philadelphia Eagles, but what I do off the field with United Way might be more important. I'm a volunteer tutor and mentor. Why? Because over 1 million kids a year drop out of school, and that's not okay. It takes 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes about the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a child becoming one or the other could be me, or it could be you. Studies show that if we get to these kids earlier, their chances are better, and kids who read well by 3rd grade are more likely to graduate. So join me in United Way. Suit up and take the pledge. Become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor, because when a child succeeds, we all succeed. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Take the pledge at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way, the Ad Council, and the National Football League.
They'll challenge your authority. They'll try to break your will. They'll push you to the edge of your sanity. Because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory, not theirs. Defend it. Who makes the payments? Who cleans it? Who drives it? You do. That's who. And in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch. Until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
Let's go inside the mind of a 10-year-old.
I should have worn those earrings today. I like those earrings. Gabby has those awesome earrings. I need to ask her where she got those, but that's just what she would want me to do. I'll have Michaela ask her for me.
Buckle up, Sarah.
Yeah, but then Michaela will be like, why don't you just ask her yourself? That's just like Michaela.
Sarah, buckle up.
Michaela's such a great name. I wish I was called Michaela. There's like a dozen Sarahs in my class.
Hey, we're not hitting the road until you buckle up, honey.
Oh yeah, seatbelt. I forget sometimes because my brain is like busy, you know? I wonder if there's pizza at school today.
Sometimes it can be tough to get through to your kids, but it's not impossible. Always make sure they're wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Remember, you have the keys, you have the power. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Dear John, I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but you've left me no choice. I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is really serious, and lately you seem to really not care. I've been there for you since day one, and I know you think I'm gonna keep ticking, but no, my friend, I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to the good times, when we were more active and ate more healthy foods, and you checked on me every once in a while? Is that too much to ask? I don't want to leave, but unless you stop ignoring me, what else am I supposed to do? Remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Doing the minimum to control your high blood pressure isn't doing enough. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. Check, change, control. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Jason Derulo. I love that music connects to people all over the country. But unfortunately, so does something else. Childhood hunger. 15 million kids struggle with hunger right here in America. And yet, every year, billions of pounds of surplus food in the U.S. go to waste instead of going to the children in need. Feeding America is working to change this. The Feeding America nationwide network of food banks rescues this surplus of food to help provide meals to families in virtually every community in the United States, including yours. But they just can't do this alone. Join me in the fight against hunger in America. For more information on what you can do to get involved, visit feedingamerica.org. That's feedingamerica.org. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America. A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey everyone. Let's all stop what we're doing right now and take a moment. That felt good, huh? Just like that, we had a nice special sort of moment together. Of course, they don't all need to be quiet moments to be special. They could be loud moments, goofy moments, sporty moments, dorky moments. Moments where we talk or walk or just hang out. It doesn't really matter. They all count. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. Sounds like somebody agrees. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Today, call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. My name is Harvey Lauer, and I'm 82. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. My folks got me a little radio in 1940, and that was the best Christmas present I ever got. When I was 11 years old is when I started to play music, play the piano, and then the accordion, and then the cello. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
It's Meals on Wheels. 1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Hi, I'd like to report a bear hug.
Uh-huh, okay.
Well, we were building a bonfire, and I saw some, dry brush and leaves around, so, I said to move the bonfire somewhere else, and out of nowhere, Smokey Bear shows up and hugs me.
So you noticed some wildfire hazards and moved your bonfire to a safer location.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Smokey, all right. He likes it when people help prevent wildfires. It hits him close to home. Not everybody gets the hug, my friend. So that's pretty special to get a hug from Smokey Bear.
So it was him. Hey, guys, I told you it was Smokey.
Okay, well, congratulations, my friend. And thanks for calling. There are many ways to prevent a wildfire. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
What are you talking about?
No, it's not him. There is only one more. There is only one more. That's it. One more.
Get a rest!
No!
They saw your team put up zero effort.
Wake up!
Remember in the old days, they used to have oxygen for them. Where's the oxygen? Play like absolute just garbage.
This is the Sports Loudmouths.
Yay!
Man, can you keep it down? I'm trying to introduce here. With Errol Marks and Speedy Beatty.
You're not even a has-been. You're a never was. You're a never was. What is up, ladies and gentlemen? For a new show, the Sports Loudmouths, 631-672-3108 is the number. You can go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Download our app on iOS, WWSRN or Android, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Speedy, the wise guys are on the corner. What is going on over there?
I am changing that.
Well, that's wonderful. Shout out to Trey and the new Wise Guys show on our network. It was a great show, boys. Obviously, Trey giving his take on the NFL season and all the different things that he was talking about today. But shout out to the Wise Guys. Jeffrey Dobbins, Errol and Speedy, what's going on?
What's up, Jeffrey? How are you doing, man?
Jeff. And chicka. At 9:30, we'll be talking to NFL Network newsroom ticker operator and writer Brendan Walker. And at 10 o'clock, we'll be talking to BetSperts and sports betting manager Ryan Noonan. He'll be joining us as well. It's going to be a great one tonight. So everybody keep tuning in. We will ask Speedy some interesting questions moving on in the show. We'll make everybody laugh as we do every single show. So definitely stay tuned for the comedy hour. And we are going to make a comedy section of a comedy hour. But shout out to all the fans that listen to us every single week throughout our network and everything that's going on in the world in sports. Anyways, topics we're going to get into today. We're going to talk about the NFL set to appeal the DeShaun Watson 6-game suspension. I don't think this is going anywhere, and I'm going to tell you why a little bit later in the show. The NFL is trying to move forward and trying to push this suspension to a full season. I doubt that's going to happen. What is this over here? The NFL offers DeShaun Watson a settlement of 12 games and a $8 to $10 million fine, and DeShaun Watson did not take it. Well, why would he? I mean, why? He won the whole thing. He got 6 games. Why would he take a 12-game suspension worth about $8 to $10 million he is going to have to pay off? Why would I do that? I mean, 6 games better than 12. Am I right? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
Well, you gotta hope that Roger Goodell thinks otherwise because he's appealing again, apparently.
The Goodello is going to smello. Anyways.
Well, he does that anyway.
He does, but he makes $45 million a year. So
yeah, nobody cares how
it doesn't matter how much he smells when he makes that kind of money, bud. Anyways, the Knicks and the 76ers are officially being investigated for tampering in reference to the free agent signings that they had this offseason. Well, I am not surprised the New York Knicks are in the tabloids right now, but we've been talking about this. They were talking to Jalen Brunson. Everybody knows that Jalen Brunson's father works for the Knicks. And Donovan Mitchell might be on the next way out of Utah into New York. I'm interested to see how many sanctions the Knicks are going to get when that happens. But interesting story. We'll get into that as well in just a few minutes. Brian Cashman says Luis Severino will likely miss the rest of the season. He'll be back for the postseason. This is an interesting story, but maybe that's why the Yankees made the moves that they made the moves at the trade deadline. They're also, it's a very interesting thing on why they decided to trade Jordan Montgomery, knowing that Severino was going to be, and they knew that Severino could be out for a significant amount of time. That doesn't make sense why they traded Montgomery, but I guess the Herman thing and some of the other pitchers obviously getting healthy, and maybe some of the young pitchers they could be bringing up.
Right.
So who knows? Sheldon Rankin says that he expects the Jets to have the best, the number one defense in the whole NFL this year. So Sheldon Rankin speaking the craziness, but let's hope this isn't a clown show, okay? Because we all remember the last time this was announced, and that was old Sexy Rexy giving us his outbursts of saying how good the defense is going to be. And, obviously the last couple of years they laid up a bunch of duds. So hopefully this team is as good as everybody says it's going to be. The Islanders are one of the 3 finalists for signing Nazem Kadri. I don't think they're going to get him. I don't. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't re-sign with the Avalanche. I think the Avalanche will figure out a way to re-sign him. It makes a lot of sense. He had his best season with the Avalanche. Why would he go to the Islanders? But hey, Lou Lamoriello has struck out almost every single way this offseason. Maybe he strikes out again, and this could be 3 strikes for Lou Lamoriello. So it's so very interesting to hear that they're one of the lead teams, but it doesn't make sense because he's a center, and they don't need a center unless, again, they decide to move him to either the right or left wing, or decide to move Barzal to the right or left wing. So they're only bringing Kadri in to play with Barzal. That would be the only reason why they're bringing him in. They need another offensive scorer on that line. What is Jeff saying over here? If the Jets do become a clown show, you should sue them for stealing your vibe. Thank you.
But of course.
Well,
don't worry. We have another Jeff in the comment section, Mr. Dobbins. I guess he surpassed Mr. Stenberg as your favorite Jeff now.
Yeah, well, Jeff Stenberg is really a stem in my ass, okay? So he's just a pain in the balls. Or he just is annoying. He really is.
Well, we're already only about 10 minutes into the show, and you're already talking about ass and balls.
Well, I'm not talking about it. I'm just mentioning it because good old Jeff makes everybody feel that way. But anyways, so
Mr. Dobbins likes it, I say.
I think you like it. Do you
no,
like
I think.
Would you like to hang out with Jeff?
I would, but not in the ass and balls way you're thinking.
I'm not thinking anything. That's what you were thinking. I just mentioned it. I didn't think that.
Sure.
Anyways, why don't we get into the Sheldon Rankins thing? Because it's really a quick story, and I was reading this today, earlier today, that Sheldon Rankins, after practice, I think yesterday, was interviewed with the press, and he talks about how fast the defense is going to be this year. They're going to have the pass rushers, with obviously Lawson coming back, and then Jermaine Johnson, and just everything that they have. Even Kwan Alexander, he said that Kwan Alexander showed up in the beginning of the week. He looks pretty good and very in shape. You look at the Jets, and I know a lot of Jet fans are sitting here and they're wondering, hey, you know what? This team could be as good as we thought they were going to be when Robert Saleh came to this team, when some of the acquisitions were made in the offseason last year. Everybody thought that this defense was going to be faster, more fun to watch. And then losing Carl Lawson for the whole season, not having a pass rush. Sheldon Rankins was far from what he was when he played for the Saints. And again, this defense was slow in the front seven. They were not fast. And Quentin Williams, who everybody thought was going to have a better season with the New York Jets, just wasn't the same player he was the year before. But I think this year, with some of the acquisitions they made, Carl Lawson being healthy, the offensive line definitely being stable, adding a guy like Lincoln Tomlinson. I think this team could definitely be a lot better than people think. But is this defense going to be the number one defense in all of football? I don't know. There's a lot of good defenses. There really is. San Diego, a.k.a. the LA Chargers, they upgraded their defense completely. They added a top-end pass rusher, and you know who, Speedy. Tell us who he is.
Khalil Mack.
Khalil Big Daddy Mack. And then obviously adding a great corner in Jackson, J.C. Jackson from the New England Patriots, who's been one of the best corners in the league for the last 3 years. They stabilized their secondary. And by the way, they have the best safety in football in Derwin James. And that front seven is going to be beastly. Scary good. So you look at that team. That team's going to have a beast of a defense. How about the Broncos in the AFC? Last year, their defense was spectacular. They did lose a defensive player in the trade for Russell Wilson. But this defense is still going to be very fast and very fun to watch. I'm just talking about the AFC right now. The Chargers, I'm sorry, not the Chargers. The Oakland Raiders, a.k.a. the Las Vegas Raiders. I always say that because I always remember them as those teams. The Raiders defense was fantastic last year. Played very well in the second half. Now with Josh McDaniels, I want to see what Josh is going to put together as far as the defense is concerned. But they're going to be fun to watch as well. And the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots, that was a top 5 defense last year. To sit here and say that the Jets are going to have that, I'm a Jet fan. To say that the Jets are going to be the best defense, Speedy, in all of football, they're going to have to really upgrade the tempo of their game.
Not only that, you have to help that everyone stays healthy, too. They have, as talented of a defense as they have a lot of guys, including Sheldon Rankins himself, that have been injury-prone in their career. We talked about it last week with Kwan Alexander and C.J. Mosley. Both of them have dealt with their injury issues. Quinnen Williams has dealt with his injury issues. Rankins, as I mentioned, has dealt with his injury issues, too. LaMarcus Joyner. There's a lot of guys that already have done that. In addition to the fact that the Jets are all young all at once, too, where a lot of these guys are going to be learning and see. Now, granted, some of these other guys are, too, like you were saying with the Chargers, a lot of new additions. Like you were saying with teams like the Broncos, they're going to have to change a lot of their new additions too. And in the NFC too, even you have teams like the Rams, you have teams like the Saints that are still going to be strong too. So yeah, for the Jets to be the best defense in the league is a stretch. I think just on that. Could they be top half of the league, top 12? Possibly. I could see that if everyone's healthy, because they do have a lot of depth on the defensive line. They do have a lot of depth in the secondary, so that can make a difference. And outside of Buffalo, there's not really a super scary offense in that division. So if they do well in games against the Patriots and the Dolphins, they can definitely strive on that. Granted, they didn't last year, but the Jets had all those injuries last year. So I don't think it's going to be I don't think it's massive to say they can't be a top 12 if those circumstances happen.
I think they could be a top 10 defense. We've seen teams take it all the way up 10 or 13 spots. And with Robert Saleh and the way he likes to press and he doesn't like to blitz, I think that this team could be a top 10 defense. To be the number one defense, you got to be extraordinary. And I don't know if this team is that yet. Now, a year from now, maybe they could be, but being that this is Robert Saleh's second year, the defense now, obviously, Carl Lawson, and this is going to be a high-tempo defense. And now I think they have the linebackers to do what Robert Saleh likes to do with adding a guy like Alexander and C.J. Mosley and then Quincy Williams. I think that this team is still going to have problems in certain aspects of the secondary. Now, I like the safeties that they have. I do. I think they added some good secondary depth in the offseason. But again, I still wonder if this Jet team is going to be what they need to be in the secondary to stop some of the top wide receivers that they're going to have to play this year in the AFC.
That'll come down to the number one corner play emerging right away. How quickly will Sauce Gardner be what he's supposed to be?
Is he the number one?
Yeah.
Is it Reed? That is the number one.
It could be Reed very easily. He played both outside and slot corner in Seattle. Now, granted, I don't know if the Jets are going to be able to rotate all the safeties to where DJ Reed can play corner all the time, because like I was saying, Joyner has been good as a slot corner in the past too, and I think better at that than a true free safety. And then Jordan Whitehead is a little more of a box safety. So that's the only thing that's unknown about the roles. So if Sauce Gardner emerges into it quickly, that'll emerge into the versatility that they could do. And then you got Bryce Hall on the other side, if he can stay healthy, as being another option for that kind of thing. And with the linebackers, Kwan Alexander is a rangy guy that could be in many different roles. And then CJ Mosley could be kind of like, if he's not a safety, obviously, but he could play in certain aspects that could be a safety, where he could play zone coverage, back end lurking coverage too. That could allow DJ Reed to be a linebacker or a slot corner type too. So Jets have options too if those key positions, the edge rushers and the corners, develop quickly, because they're all going to be new all at once.
And another defense that's going to be very, very good in the AFC is the Browns.
Yeah.
And the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
And the Steelers. I mean,
if the Steelers could get their secondary going, yes.
The Steelers are going to be fun to watch. They're going to be a fun defense to watch. They were one of the best pass rushing defenses in all of football last year. Yep. And they had the best defensive player in the league last year in Watt. So they're going to be fun. They added some good pieces in the offseason. We all know what Jacksonville did to, relinquish one of their star linebackers, and he goes to Pittsburgh.
The last one left.
I mean, it doesn't make sense how Jack is playing for the Steelers. He should still be in Jacksonville, but
the last one left of the Saxonville defense.
I mean, the Colts defense should be better this year. The Jaguars, I don't know what they are.
I have no idea.
I don't know what they are, but the whole AFC, as far as the defenses are concerned, the Bills are going to have a good defense. The Patriots are going to have a good defense. I don't know about the Dolphins in the first year. The Bengals will have a good defense. The Steelers, the Browns, and the Ravens. The Titans are going to have a good defense. The Colts will have a better defense. The Chiefs, maybe
later in the season. I think.
Raiders, Chargers, and Broncos are going to practically all the teams in the AFC are going to have pretty good defenses on paper. What we've seen so far, even some of the acquisitions they made in the offseason. And then we're not even talking about the NFC, which is a little bit weaker than the AFC, actually a lot weaker than the AFC. But some of these teams are going to have, the Eagles are going to have good defense. Washington had a good defense last year, especially in the second half of the season.
Right.
The Packers, they lost a couple of pieces, but they played well defensively last year. The Vikings lost. Did you hear who went to the Cowboys? Barr. By the way, for all those Jet fans that were pissed off that Barr decided to part ways and not take that contract with the Jets, well, the Vikings obviously parted ways with him. They didn't want him anymore.
No.
And then he goes to the lonely, misread Dallas Cowboys. By the way, Nathan called me today.
Oh, boy.
And he told me, did you hear we got Barr? I said, so?
Yeah, really. The Cowboys have 5 linebackers and nothing else.
Who cares? Who cares if they got Barr? They're going to have a lot more problems, and they need more than just Barr in the offseason. They lost a lot of pieces this offseason, especially in the defense. And to sit here and say, well, we got Barr. He's a pretty good acquisition. Yeah, he's a decent acquisition. Micah Parsons is going to have to have the same season he had last year and go into this year. I think Micah is a star. But if teams know that he is going to be the lonely pass rusher on the defensive line, and then Nathan tells me he had 3 interceptions, who cares?
Well, yeah, he's not going to have that if he's not going to have that same role, because now you're bringing in Barr, so you're spending money on that. You still got Leighton Vander Esch there. You drafted all these other linebackers the last 2 years too. So Micah Parsons at this point is going to lose a little bit when it comes to his coverage and run stopping ability if he's going to play more of a pass rusher type role. So his well-rounded versatility that really was a big reason that defense got, I guess, carried for not having a lot of talent isn't going to be the same as that, because they don't really have much other good positions with edge rushers and safeties, and outside of Diggs, a lot of corner depth.
I just named a bunch of teams. And by the way, we didn't even talk about the NFC South and the NFC West, which I think 3 out of the 4 teams are going to have top end defenses in the Rams, Cardinals, and 49ers. So I don't know where rankings sees the Jets to be the number 1 defense in all of football. And this is coming from a Jet fan, ladies and gentlemen. I'm a diehard, but I don't know in the first year. And yes, Kwan Alexander has the understanding of what this defense is. DJ Reed knows this defense as well. Sheldon Rankins being there for a first year last year with it's somebody like Robert Saleh. He knows the defense now. All these guys have had 1 year under the belt, and they've added some pieces. I just don't know if the secondary, even with a young Sauce Gardner, I have to see what Sauce can do when he's targeted with the best wide receivers in all of football, the fastest wide receivers in the world running against him. And then the other side of the field, even if he can. So it's going to be a fun season to really go back and forth on what defense is better and what defense is the number one defense in football. But again, they're in a division right now that has 3 really good teams that could play defense too. I mean, Miami, I don't know with a new coach, an offensive-minded coach, and we all know that their coach last year is one of the best defensive minds in football, and that's Flores. Flores is now gone. He's coaching, or is he cornerback coach or whatever the heck he is over there with the Steelers, and he's going to help out in the defense over there with the Steelers, which, by the way, was one of the best defenses in the league last year. So I'm interested to see what this Dolphins defense is going to be. But the Patriots, they're going to be fast. Even losing Jackson, you know that a guy like Bill Belichick, he finds corners like a dime a dozen. He knows how to find them. He'll fit them in. He'll put any corner in this defense and he'll turn them into stars. He always does.
Yes, he does.
And the Bills, even though they lost some pieces, I think they're going to be younger and faster. And they have Von Miller there. They got a fast front seven as well. And then there's the Jets. Now, could the Jets be the best defense in this division? Maybe. I don't know. The Jets defense is going to have to be as good as what ranking says if they expect to be in the playoffs this year. What does he pay? Patriots won't be fast. What are you talking about? Lies?
No, he said the Patriots will be fast.
No, he says Patriots won't be fast. Did you read what Jeff said right here?
Oh, interesting take.
Lies.
On that. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, really. Meanwhile, they had one of the best pass rushers in the league last year. But they weren't fast, Speedy. No fast.
Jeff also says best Charger is still Rashawn Slater.
Lies.
Just a guess, the Raiders.
Thank
will have
you,
the best
Jeff.
Defense. Suck says that's crazy talk. Hawaii and Tebow to throw for 8,000 yards this year. What are they going to play a 82 game season like that meme? Jeff says.
You know what's so funny? I compliment the Patriots, and he shuts it down. They're not going to be fast. I'm willing to bet that the Patriots will be a top 10 defense this year. I'm willing to bet it. They didn't lose that many pieces on the defensive side of the ball this offseason. I think they added some pieces, obviously.
Most of them are homegrown.
Yes.
Yeah. They have enough depth where they can weather the storm, even though losing Jackson. I know everyone's going to overreact. The Patriots have done this before. How many corners have they let go and then been fine? That's never been their weakness. The Patriots defense has ever been bad. It's usually with the front seven more, where even in their Super Bowl year when they lost to the Eagles, that was like they had everything else, linebacker, secondary, and they didn't have much of a pass rush that year. And that was the thing that held them back, even though they went to the Super Bowl. But yeah, they're always good with physical press corners, whether it's man or zone. Bill Belichick mixes it up, but they always love physical corners. John says Dallas will have a surprisingly good defense this year also. I don't know about that. They really did not improve much on that defense. Jeff says Browns missed the playoffs for sure. Snuck says Dallas has the best everything. Duh.
What is Jeff saying over here? I can't name one defensive player on the Patriots. I don't know, Matthew Judon. I'm a little lost on that. I've been talking about how fast he was. He's one of the better defenders in the league last year. Jabril Peppers. I know they added in the offseason.
Yeah, which Bill Belichick will use better than the Giants.
Marcus Jones. I don't know. I don't know any defensive players on this Patriot team. I'm sorry, Jeff. I don't know as much as you do about your team, but I don't know what I'm talking about because that's why we listen to the show, right, Jeff? Because I don't know what I'm talking about.
Jeff also says Browns will miss the playoffs for sure. John says
every team is thin at every different positions. For him to say that they're weak in corner and they're weak over there at linebacker, they're thin or whatever the heck. The Jets are weak at the linebacker position. Every team is weak at certain positions. To sit here and say that they're not going to be as good as they were last year is ridiculous. They were a top 5 defense all season long. And yes, they lost J.C. Jackson. Yes, he's a top-end corner. But we've seen the Patriots do this over and over and over again. They lose corners, and then they find these corners you never even heard of, and they become superstars or Pro Bowl players.
Yeah. At least as a solid team defense that is good against the pass, they always find good corners, whether it's just one guy or multiple that make it work. Jeff also says, did Nathan call you while he was sitting on EJ Perry's lap?
Probably.
Naturally, Zaven Collins for Defensive Player of the Year. And yeah, you read everything else at this point.
I also like Kyle Duggar.
Kyle Duggar, yes.
He's really good, too. He's been a very good player. ever since they were drafting him. I think it was a first-round draft.
It was a second-round pick. I think they traded back. I think they traded back that year or something like that. I think it was their first-round pick.
He was a first-round talent.
He was thought of as a first-round talent with the combine that he had, and I think it was the Patriots' first-round pick that they ended up trading back, like they always like to trade back, except when they traded with the Jets that year.
Yeah, well, let's not get into that. But
the Jets actually got picks from the Patriots. Who would have thought?
Well, I mean, Joe Douglas got picks.
Yeah.
No, I won't say the Jets. Joe Douglas, because Joe Douglas has been a very smart drafter, and the Jets as an organization have been the worst. But them and the Giants, and the Giants,
Mike McCagnon were smart. But
well, McCagnon had a pretty good draft.
McCagnon had some good drafts.
I mean, he drafted Revis, right? He drafted Ferguson, Mangold. He drafted all those guys.
Well, yeah, he's had some good drafts. It's just a matter of the consistency aspect of it. Joe Douglas definitely taking it to another level. Everyone that we had on this panel, on our draft panel, a lot of them were saying the Jets either had the best or top 3 draft. So big difference there.
But again, going back to the Jets, I don't know if they're going to be the number 1 defense. If they move in the top 10 this year, that's success.
Yes.
That is a successful season. Their defense is going to have to play very well because you still have a second-year quarterback that is going to still have to figure out different aspects of the defenses that they're going to have to read. He's going to have to read during the season when he plays these teams like the Patriots, which Bill Belichick likes to hide the corners, hide the safety plays, blitz the safeties. That's what he likes to do. He likes to surprise teams and surprise the young quarterbacks. Go look at Bill Belichick's record against quarterbacks in their first 2 years of their careers.
Oh, it's DeShaun Watson is the only one recently that has done well. And the Patriots won that game. I think Watson did well. Watson had over 300 yards. That was it, though. Even somebody like Justin Herbert, just won Rookie of the Year, had his worst game against the Patriots.
When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be talking to NFL Network's newsroom ticker operator and writer, Brendan Walker, here on the Sports Loudmouths.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Ranger Station, Ranger speaking.
Hi, I'd like to report a bear hug.
Uh-huh, okay.
Well, we were building a bonfire, and I saw some, dry brush and leaves around, so, I said to move the bonfire somewhere else, and out of nowhere, Smokey Bear shows up and hugs me.
So you noticed some wildfire hazards and moved your bonfire to a safer location.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Smokey, all right. He likes it when people help prevent wildfires. It hits him close to home. Not everybody gets the hug, my friend. So that's pretty special to get a hug from Smokey Bear.
So it was him. Hey, guys, I told you it was Smokey.
Okay, well, congratulations, my friend. And thanks for calling. There are many ways to prevent a wildfire. Learn how you can do your part at SmokeyBear.com.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Sponsored by the U.S. Forest Service, Ad Council, and your state forester.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is the Sports Loudmouths.
Like this. I'm not a rapper here. 631-672-3108 is the number. You're listening to the Sports Loudmouths. I'm your host, Errol Marks, my co-host, Speedy PD. Remember, you can listen to our show every single Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9 p.m. Download and check out our app on iOS, WWFRN, or Android, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Our first guest, ladies and gentlemen, happy to have him on for the first time on the Sports Loudmouths. We are now talking to NFL Network newsroom ticker and operator writer, Brendan Walker. Brendan, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, guys? How's your night going?
Well, we're sitting here talking sports. I'm making fun of everybody. Our fans are being asses. So, that's why we're loud, and that's why we're called the Sports Loudmouths. How are you, man? How's everything going over there?
Oh, dude, vibes are great. Honestly, today was an off day for me in terms of gym. So, we're just resting up, playing some games, hanging out. Obviously, just keeping up with the football world and keeping up with what you guys are doing. You guys have high energy. I like that.
Thank you. You're a gym rat, huh?
I got into being a gym rat in March and just been consistent since then. It's pretty much.
I am a gym rat. I've been a gym rat for a while. Ever since my hip surgery and my neck surgery, I slowly have moved back into the gym as much as I have, but I used to train so many different athletes, and I love it. I absolutely love watching my understanding on how much to build certain muscles, from your biceps to your triceps to your back and your calves and your quads. I love working with athletes because when they see a difference in their body, it really shows what you know and how much you've worked for, all the opportunities that you had going to school and understanding the human body. So
Right. It's a process for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was trying to spit that out, but it is a process. As everybody knows, we are talking to NFL Network newsroom ticker operator and writer Brendan Walker. Before we get into some football conversation, as tonight, the first preseason game of the season. So football is back, ladies and gentlemen. Let's jump off a ledge. No, I'm just kidding. Don't jump.
Unless you're a Bears fan, you might have to.
You might, or Justin Fields might have to jump off a ledge on all the tight ends he has to throw to and no wide receivers. But obviously, first of all, how did you start working for the NFL Network? And what made you become a newsroom ticker and writer?
Way back when I graduated college in 2018, I was kind of like most other people, just kind of shooting my resume out there, applying to things, online things, shooting them out everywhere across the nation, really. Because journalism, as much as you'd think, like, there's opportunity, but I was kind of very specific about what I wanted. I knew I wanted NFL. I knew I wanted sports, and I wanted to use my degree coming out of college. I didn't want to go work at a Joe Schmo, restaurant or, be a waiter. I wanted to use what I learned in college. So eventually down the road, I got an opportunity to tour the place, and it was just by kind of luck, a little bit of luck in there. I got to meet who is my current boss. They were hiring at the time for my current job. And so the next week, I got the call saying, hey, we want to have you in for an interview. Got the interview. Next day they were hiring. And I was like, boom, I got the job. And it was always a little bit of just good timing, good vibes. I waited a long time since graduation that May up until that point. I got hired. First day was like January 2nd of the following year. So I waited like 8 months, something like that, just to get the job. But it was well worth the wait. It's basically a foot in the door for me working at the NFL Network. That's kind of just how I got in. It's been very tricky. The past couple years since COVID happened, we worked in Culver City. That was the first location we were at. Old building, kind of old style things, a little bit smaller. Then COVID hit. Go through that transition. We're now working from home. The whole newsroom's working from home. Everybody's in a different environment. There's benefits being at home versus not all the time. And then once COVID, we started to figure out, NFL wants vaccination and all that stuff. We started moving into the new building, which is in Inglewood right now, next to the SoFi Stadium. And through all the protocols and stuff like that, people started coming back into the office. So it's been a little bit crazy going through, me personally, 3 different working environments for the same job right now, which is ticker operator I'm at right now.
Well, I will say this. It's not about luck. What you're doing right now, you earned the right to be there. You've put the time, the energy into your schoolwork and your journalism, and you built a name for yourself. And obviously, when you went to check out the NFL and how the network works, maybe you bumped into the right person, but that's not luck. I mean, obviously, he knew who you were, and he liked your work, and that's why he interviewed you, and that's why he gave you a job. So it's not luck. And I've learned that in this business as well as a radio guy. I've been doing this for 9 years, and I'm still waiting to get an opportunity to do it nationally. And I've worked really, really hard. We're on 103.9 FM out here. We have one of the better shows in the whole Long Island, not just regular radio, but we're the only live sports radio show that airs live here in Long Island. So it's, to me, that's a great feat where we've come from what we have done. And we have one of the better digital shows around the country. I really do believe that. I don't think there's any show out there that has the energy, the craziness, and the sports knowledge we have. So I think eventually when the national end sees that, they're going to give us an opportunity. And I can't wait to do that nationally and show people what we can do for what makes us so very different from everybody else. So as everybody knows, we are talking to the NFL Network newsroom ticker operator and writer, Brandon Walker.
So I just want to know, in your time working at NFL Network, there's a lot of personalities that definitely are very interesting on NFL Network. Do you have any good stories about any of them, any of the on-air or even behind the scene ones that people watch?
Yeah, there's been a couple. I'd say definitely in working in a live newsroom environment, typically when you're watching the shows, what you see is the guys up front, all the hosts that come through doing the stuff. We're behind the scenes, right? We're in the back. But you get to see that. So really anything that we do in the background, so sometimes we don't really know what we're doing, but it's on TV. Like for example, one of my Twitter my header is me drinking a sip of water, like on the thing. I thought it was cool, but like stuff like that doesn't come across my mind until you like look around and you're like, you see the live thing. It's like, oh, hey, by the way, we're on TV. So that type of thing, personally, I've seen other people in newsroom do stupid things, right? Going back and forth when it's crazy, breaking news, stuff like that. I remember one time Michael Irvin came in for Super Bowl stuff, and if you know Michael Irvin, he's got a personality and it's pretty loud. He came in one time, so funny. He came in just screaming, like not like yelling at somebody, but just so very animated. Come in, hey, what's going on? Newsroom, like, hey, LA, stuff like that coming in. And Rich Eisen is there. They're doing all these promos for stuff coming in. It's a very interesting experience because they don't come like in the newsroom quite often unless it's a special case. So it was cool, first of all, to see them because they're usually filming from another location into the newsroom, and just seeing them come in and lively and animated. Like you think about it, like, hey, yeah, like we're coworkers. We might not be in the same like area, but like we all work for the NFL in some capacity. Really cool to see that kind of happen in the newsroom right next to us.
Well, I know Rich Eisen, obviously. He's a diehard Jet fan. He's been waiting for the Jets to finally get over the hump. But I mean, there's a lot of humps and a lot of shoulders and a lot of whatever you want to call it, walls the Jets had to jump to get Robert Saleh there, to get Joe Douglas there. Your thoughts to some of the acquisitions the Jets made in the offseason? And obviously, Sheldon Rankins, I'm sure you heard that monologue. Sheldon Rankins saying that the Jets could be, or he believes are going to be, the best defense in the NFL, adding Kwan Alexander at the end of last week. So where do you see the Jets? What do you think of the Jets after some of the acquisitions in the draft that they had this year?
I think the Jets are in a very interesting spot to me. I think in terms of the division, obviously with the Bills there, it's kind of tough. But as a team themselves, they have a pretty decent roster. I think people kind of don't give them enough credit, I would say. I think if you look at it from top to bottom, you recognize some names that are pretty big names. I know everybody wants to talk about Zach Wilson as of late, but that's a whole nother story. I do like the draft that they had overall. Their first round picks, like nailing that. Like Sauce Gardner, I think he's gonna be a stud. All that stuff. Secondary is kind of underrated. They're trying to get younger, right? Like they're trying to improve. Get. Heard you guys talking fast. Other locations, get people going fast. A lot of depth, and I'm looking at it right now. It doesn't seem like it. Like you said, it used to be like a bottom of the barrel team. It's kind of coming out of that. You're starting to see a little bit more improvement in the depth and the draft. They've been nailing. Joe Douglas, as I heard you guys say, he used to be on the Eagles staff, and I miss him a lot. But he's been doing a great job.
Oh, he's an Eagles fan. That's
the truth comes out.
He's your second team. You should like it.
By the way, my second favorite team. I'm a Jet fan by heart, but the Jets never, for years, the Jets never made the playoffs. So the Eagles did. They didn't win anything, but they always made the playoffs. And I was a die-hard Donovan McNabb fan. I met him twice. I met him in Miami at the Super Bowl. I actually had a nice conversation about his Syracuse. He couldn't believe how much I knew about his Syracuse college career. He was surprised, and we had and that guy is a big monster. He is bigger in person than I ever thought he was when he played on the field. He's got these big buys and forearms. I mean, I was wowed, man. That guy is a big man. But But I like what the Eagles did. A.J. Brown, that trade. I mean, adding Davis in the draft. He's one of the more interesting pieces that they added this offseason, especially in the draft. They got the kid from Georgia in the 3rd round, Dean, who he fell to them. So, and then they added some good free agents, and I think they're going to be fun to watch. They were as good as they were last year. They squeezed into the playoffs. I think they're even better this year. They're winning the division this year. They're much better than the Cowboys, the Washington, whatever, the Commanders. And yes, and they're much better than the Giants. And they have a very easy schedule. The way the schedule is set up for them, Philadelphia should win 10 or 11 games this year. They're going to be fun to watch. I really like them.
Yeah, I think they're the most improved team. I talked a while ago on something else. They're the most improved team to me in their division alone. I can't say the NFL because that would just sound super biased. But they really have improved in like almost all areas. But like what you're really gonna have to pay attention to is Jalen Hurts. He's been the talk of the town. Like he's kind of the main focus. You've built around him, how he's built around him, all these additions. You can bring anybody what you want, any player you want. But if the quarterback, is not to the level that you're expecting, the team can't really succeed. I've seen that just time and time again. You could have even a great quarterback such as Russell Wilson, who was on the Seahawks, maybe not a great team. He solely like carried his team all the time, even if the team around him wasn't there. Jalen Hurts is starting to become in the conversation of he needs to become great kind of now because they've had insurance. They traded with the Saints for a 1st-round pick next year, actually as insurance to
2 first rounds next year.
Yeah, they have 2. Sorry, they have 2 next year. They traded with them for another one as protection. Not to say that they don't trust him, but because if this doesn't work, we now have to kind of go looking because we have invested so much. We're not going to let the train go off the tracks here. We need to kind of
Mr. Walker,
do that.
You know what's going to happen.
No.
It's going to happen. It don't matter if Jalen Hurts has a decent year or an okay year. If he doesn't have a spectacular year, they're going to look for a quarterback in next year's draft.
There's so many expectations on him. It's insane.
10%. They're ready. This team right now is ready to win now. I mean, the weapons that they have defensively, they added obviously Davis. This team is going to fly. That front, and they added secondary help. They drafted very well the last couple of years. They moved pieces around. This is a good secondary too, and they're high flying. A.J. Brown over there, Smith. This is the weapon. I've never seen so many weapons in Philadelphia. Even when they won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles, they didn't have weapons like this. This team is ready to win now. If Jalen Hurts can't get this team in the worst division in football, it's not even an argument. This is the worst division in all of football. If they can't get over the hump right now, Jalen Hurts is going to be goodbye. That's what they're going to be saying. And hello, whoever they're going to draft, because they got 2 firsts. They can move up in the top 10 and get whoever they want.
Yeah.
Whoever they want. So it's going to be fun. It is going to be fun for the Philadelphia Eagles as well.
So speaking of mobile quarterbacks, we just saw one get paid, and Kyler Murray got a $46 million per year contract, and one that's waiting to be paid in Lamar Jackson. So what do you think about Kyler Murray's contract as a whole, and what do you think that could affect the market for Lamar Jackson, either getting paid by the Ravens or someone else?
I understand what he got. You kind of have to pay him. Just because I think the Cardinals don't have any other option, really. You found your guy. He's not been terrible. I think a lot of people have some concern that he hasn't proven anything, is what I've heard. Is like he, no playoff win, whatever, all this stuff. Like you're in a tough division. It's tough right now. Kyler Murray's tough. That whole contract clause that got added or was there got removed. That's a whole other story that just it never needed to happen. So now there's just additional things surrounding him. His contract, though, affecting Lamar. I've been talking about this in the newsroom with a couple of guys. I know, right? DeShaun got, fully guaranteed like his whole pretty much contract. What is it? Was it 230 over something?
Yeah. 230. I think it was. 230.
Yeah, I was saying, like, what if Lamar has an MVP season? Because the Ravens are kind of back. Like, they were super injured. He's got a squad. What if Lamar had an MVP type season, or maybe doesn't even need that, but an insane season, gets to the playoffs, gets knocked out by the Bills, whatever. Not that I'm saying that's going to happen, but What if he got 250 guaranteed? What if he got 250 million? What if he tops the market? People are saying it's not going to do that because DeShaun's different. I'm like, well, DeShaun's different. That's the whole point. DeShaun didn't even play for a year, and he got all this guaranteed money. Lamar's been playing and at like a high level, and you're saying like, is he not worthy? I've seen he's like definitely a person who has received so much like hate and like unnecessary at that.
Do you want me to tell you why Lamar doesn't have his contract right now?
He said he didn't want it.
That's a lie.
That's what, I mean,
how many times on social media he's been crying all off season about, well, I deserve this and I deserve that, and how many times has he danced around his contract dispute right now with the Baltimore Ravens? Here's the reason why he doesn't have his contract. Go find a damn agent. Why are you your own agent? What does that make any sense? What, you don't want to pay your agent? You want to make all the money yourself? You're not going to negotiate your deal. It doesn't make any sense. You just play the game. Get somebody to come in, get a smart man that's going to sit down, talk to the team representatives, and get you your damn contract. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't.
It doesn't. I think he might be going, instead of the largest contract in NFL history, he might be going for the largest like storyline. If that's he wants a story out of this.
Well, Kyler Murray got a story or sturry, whatever you want to call it. I mean, Kyler Murray got the money that he wanted. He got his best friend playing with him, who just got arrested, by the way. Good luck. Good job. Another Brown doing stupid things off the field.
Kyler Murray's going to have to bail him out of jail.
What the heck doing? I mean, come on, man. But he got what he wanted, and he's going to be, by the way, Brown's going to be suspended. Marquise Brown is going to be suspended for at least 4 games for what he did. So you're not going to have him. So you don't have your 2 best wide receivers for 4 and possibly 6 games. So who are you throwing to? I mean, seriously.
Rondell Moore will be the number 1
season.
He's going to be working for dear life. That's what he's going to be doing. I mean,
Trey McBride season. Hey.
Yeah, I like Trey McBride.
Well, Christian Kirk went over there to Jacksonville on a high note.
yeah.
$70-something million. I can't believe Christian Kirk got that money, by the way. I was shocked. I don't want to tell you what I was going to do, but I almost crapped my pants, okay, when I saw how much money he got after the season that he had. He had a decent season, but number 1 wide receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
He's getting paid over $20 million for a guy that's never had 1,000 yards.
Come
in a
on,
season.
man.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
He was the starting domino for the entire offseason, I'm going to say. Not just wide receiver, just the money aspect. He was like, Christian Kirk said, give me my money. And then every other wide receiver just came in saying, hey, I want that. I want that. I want that. Even if, a trade, whatever, however you got him. And the wide receiver market was insane this offseason. I've never seen anything like it.
This was the craziest offseason for wide receivers. And it shows you how important wide receivers have become in the NFL with the speed of the game now, the change of the game. And now you see the quarterbacks and what they're making. They're getting $500 million and $50 million a year contracts like, Rodgers and all the different things that we're seeing. Eventually, we're going to see $100 million a year going to a quarterback. I mean, it's ridiculous. It really is. And now you have wide receivers. I don't know. Wide receivers from Seattle who and I'm not going to mention any names, and everybody knows who I'm talking about, who gets guaranteed money. And yes, since he's been in the league, he's been a good wide receiver. He also had Russell Wilson throwing him the ball. Let's see what he does this year when Mr. Drew is throwing him the ball. Okay, and he wanted guarantee money and wanted his way out of there. So these quarterbacks and wide receivers are, I don't know, prima donnas, and they should maybe sing a couple of Material Girl songs, because that's what they are. Material girls, all of them, crybabies.
They went the safety position too.
Yeah, they really did. They I want to say this: the wide receivers that have asked for new deals, no scenario is guaranteed, right? Like you kind of knew, you knew Russell Wilson's gone, so why would they not give, DK Metcalf his contract? Is that they're not going to give him the money just because the quarterback's gone? It's like contracts are no longer going to be given out based on what you've proven. It's going to be based on what's happening the future years. That's why nobody wants to give all these people this money. It's just, you want to see how the team's going to turn out. People are waiting for these contracts. People want the money now, but they're going to have to be patient because they have to see how their team is going to develop over the offseason and all the moves. It's too much money being thrown out to these people, to be honest.
We are talking to NFL Network's newsroom ticker operator writer, Brendan Walker.
So I want to talk about it from the player power perspective too. Wide receivers forcing their way out the way they have. Obviously, a lot of big name defensive players have done that too. Do you see this kind of thing being a normal trend now? Not as drastically as, say, the NBA or something like that, where players force themselves out that are of premier positions and get what they want in today's NFL?
I think it's a case-to-case thing. I think it depends on their motives. I think one example I'll just use is Devontae Adams, right? You're leaving Aaron Rodgers to go to your college dude in Derek Carr. I'm not saying he's going to go there. Obviously, you got a new deal with the Raiders. Cool. Raiders have improved. They're working their way up. But you're leaving Aaron Rodgers point blank. So what was, I don't even know what the motivation was there. Was it for the new deal? Was it just to get something new? Was it, what are you actually going for? I think people really, these wide receivers, everybody wants the money. There's not, you don't have to argue that. Everybody wants the money. But at some point, I think down the road, people kind of do like to play to win. I mean, some people don't. Some people will chase the NFL money and boom, they got their whole career, they got their whole life set, for them. But some people have changed scenarios to win, not necessarily for the money. And because they win, they get rewarded after the fact, right? They prove that they won something and then they get rewarded. I can't really tell right now how it's going to go, but I do see a lot of wide receivers. If they're not happy, they do force themselves out of a lot of situations.
Just so everybody knows, all the wide receivers that got their money this offseason, none of them have won anything. None of them. Deebo Samuels, I think, is fantastic. He deserved his money out of all of them for the beatings that he gets every single year. What has he won? He's won nothing. Adams, what did he win? Nothing. Let's go through it. Tyreek Hill, you want to say he won? Okay, he won. He also had Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. And by the way, he goes to the Miami Dolphins, which, by the way, loses their first-round draft pick because of their old
tampering
situation with Tom Brady and all the other crap that they had with Peyton. So and then he comes out and says that Hawaiian Tebow is a more accurate thrower than Patrick Mahomes. What is he, on drugs? What is he trying to sell here? You're not selling to a bunch of idiots, are you? Because we're not.
No. He has to say that. He has to say his quarterback's going to be good. But everybody knows the truth.
I can't wait until this season starts and how much crap he's going to be talking about Tua after the first 3 games, that this guy can't get me the ball, his numbers are down. Tyreek Hill is not a quiet person. If he doesn't get the ball, he doesn't get his 100-yard games, he's going to be bitching and moaning about everything. That's what he does. So I don't know how much this is going to work, but I expect Tua to be gone by next year and a new quarterback to be in place, because I can't see that happen. I cannot see anything that anybody, and I don't want to hear it. We had, who do we have on? The writer from Miami on Tuesday?
Yeah, Alan
Pupar, who's trying to sell me that he thinks Tua is going to have a good year, okay? He could sell me whatever he wants. And by the way, I like Alan. And Alan, I don't know, did he write back to us after that interview?
I think he liked the message.
Okay, good. Because I attacked him with the Florida Panthers.
I know.
I attacked him. He's a little crazy. He tells me that the Panthers won that trade. I thought he was on drugs, but him telling me that Tua that Tua is going to have a good season. He looked really good on the field. Well, I guess you're looking at it with bright binoculars, because everything I've seen with Tua is the man is not as accurate as he says. And the guy, every single second or third down, he gets hurt. So, I mean, how long is he going to be on the field this year when we can actually say Tua had a good season when he played 17 games? Let's say playing 13 games would be good for Tua, okay?
Didn't he beat the Ravens last year or whenever he was in?
Yeah,
He
they
came
did.
in.
They had that blowout game. That was one of the games. where Lamar
Everybody
Jackson
beat
was
the
hurt.
Ravens last year.
Listen,
One of the, I think
I'm
that was
just
the
saying.
first of the like 6 out of 7 they lost.
The Ravens
Had
had
everyone
they had no running game because every single one of they had a quarterback running the ball at the end of the year. Okay, they lost like 4 or 5 running backs. They had guys off the scrap heap running the ball. And what is their game? Running the ball. So I beating the Ravens last year is nothing. This year, if the Ravens stay healthy, watch out. They're going to win 12 games this year. I expect it. They're too good. They had a great draft. They added a center. They have one of the best safeties we've seen come out of the draft in the last 10 years in Kyle Hamilton. I mean, this team is going to be fun to watch. I cannot see them having another bad year and not making the playoffs. So beating the Ravens, good luck. Miami doing it this year, I think they have they have a better chance of beating, a bunch of dogs on a field. Okay. That's about it. Yeah.
So, okay. Sorry. Good.
No. Continue.
So my last question is one bold prediction for this season, either with a team or with a player.
Oh God. Dude, bold prediction.
Please.
Is it bold to say Aaron Donald doesn't win defensive MVP?
Yes, that is bold.
I guess the way he's been doing it, he's a finalist pretty much every year, probably.
No, I can't use that. I don't know. I just want to maybe. Let me look at the teams real quick. Oh, let's just stick with this. What if the that's it. What if the Chargers won the division? I saw the division.
I don't think that's bold.
I think it's bold.
Really? You think that's bold?
Well, is it bold to say any one of them could win?
Well,
that division is tough.
Yeah.
And I think people are saying that. Okay, so what's bold then? Chiefs don't win the division?
Yeah.
No.
Well,
right?
Chiefs aren't making. I'll be sorry. I'll be very surprised if the Chiefs make the playoffs.
Wow.
Whoa, that's bold. That's the bold prediction right there.
I'm a bold person, so enjoy the boldness. I'm not bold, but I'm bold.
No, he's bold.
I'm bold. Very
You're
bold.
here first.
Yeah, that's right.
Don't worry, I'll roll with the bold. I'll roll with the Chargers one being bold. I call them the least clutch team in football.
Oh,
he hates the Chargers.
Well, from last year, what happened in the playoffs? I mean, I get it.
Well, if they actually knew how to beat the Raiders last year, they make the playoffs. But the Raiders got very, very lucky, and that almost went to a tie. Could you imagine that team that went to a tie, and you had two? They have to play a playoff game, because they have the same record.
No, both teams would have gotten in that case.
Yeah, both teams.
Yeah,
that doesn't make sense. How are both teams making the playoffs?
Because the tie would have nullified the Steelers tie because they had the Lions.
The Raiders are
out. The Raiders would have been out, and so the Raiders won. So once the Raiders couldn't lose to that point when they had the ball, they were already in. It's just a matter of if the Chargers got in or the Steelers.
Yeah.
It would have been bold. How's that?
Bold.
That's right. But we really appreciate you, Brendan, for joining us. We'll definitely get you on. But I'd like to get you on before the season because we're going to be going over and talking about each division. And I'd love to get you on with a bunch of other guys. I'm going to have Speedy reach out to a bunch of NFL guys and come on at the same time. And we'll go through each division and each team. And we'll kind of make our predictions this year. If you don't mind, we'd love to bring you on again.
Sure. Yeah, that'd be great. You guys are awesome. You guys have been high energy, I tell you.
Thank you, Brandon. We really appreciate your time. And definitely keep up the good work. We'll be in touch very, very soon.
For sure. Thank you, guys.
Brendan Walker, ladies and gentlemen. NFL Network newsroom ticker and operator and writer. Speedy, are you all right over there?
Yeah.
You lost?
I don't know.
You lost?
I'm not lost.
Do you want me to give you like a noogie or something?
No.
No noogie?
No, I don't want that.
All right. When we come back, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be talking to BetSpert Sports betting manager Ryan Noonan here on the Sports Loudmouths.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. As a volunteer, you deliver a hot, nutritious meal and a friendly hello to someone just like your mother, grandfather, or next door neighbor. These seniors are inspiring people with incredible stories to share, and they love to see you. The smiles you get back are priceless. Delivering with Meals on Wheels is easy, and you don't have to drive like me for it to be quick. You can volunteer your lunch break once a week or just once a month. With 1 in 6 seniors facing hunger and many more living in isolation, your lunch break can make a real difference. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. This is the Sports Loudmouths.
All right, Speedy, we're bringing back some old house over here. 631-672-3108 is the number. You're listening to the Sports Loudmouths. I'm your host, Daryl Marks. My co-host, Speedy Petey. Download our app on iOS, WWSRN, or Android, Worldwide Sports Radio Network. Download our app, ladies and gentlemen. Or I said download our app. Go to our website at www.worldwidesportsradio.com. Check out all our shows throughout the country. Great live shows. Definitely check it out. We had the Wise Guys on tonight. Different shows, Weapons Hot for Jets. We have a wrestling show, all great content, and it's live, guys. You can get interactive with all the different shows that we have on our network. It's fun, it's entertaining, and yes, stupid as well. So enjoy it. Thank you to Brendan Walker from the NFL Network. And now we have another new guest. Very excited to have him on. We are now talking to BetSpert Sports betting manager Ryan Noonan. What's going on, Ryan?
What's going on, guys? Happy to be here. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. I love the vibes already, so I'm excited to talk some ball with you guys.
Absolutely. I mean, Speedy, it was his birthday last week. He's 27 years old.
Yes.
He's getting old. We need to get him a haircut. I mean, it looks like a grease ball.
At 27 years old, fellas.
We were going to go 2 weeks ago, and then I told you my grandfather got COVID, so I didn't want to go anywhere else.
Well, we got to get you a haircut this week, man. You definitely need one. But anyways, we're happy to have you. Who do we have from Daigle, right? We had Daigle?
Yeah, John Daigle, yes.
We had John Daigle.
We've had him on 3 times.
He's awesome. He really is. You got a good guy over there with Mr. Daigle. So let's get into it. How did you become the manager of BetSpert Sports? How did you get involved with the company? And obviously, how far has BetSpert gone since you've taken over?
It's a great question. I originally was with 4for4. 4for4 is OG in the space. It's been around for a very long time. My co-host Connor Allen and I have started Move the Line. I think this is our 5th year doing Move the Line. Came over to the 4for4 group 3 years ago. And BetSpert actually acquired our parent company. They bought 4for4 last year, along with a few other acquisitions in the space, Dynasty League Football, Matthew Berry's Fantasy Life app. Matthew's still a part of that. Good to see Matthew tonight on the prime time on doing sideline stuff for NBC, which is awesome to see.
Mm-hmm.
And then BetSpert is just kind of basically throwing money on the fire here. BetSpert itself is now has a homepage. It's just been kind of like an app for the last handful of years where you can basically track your bets, tail bets, things of that nature. So now we basically are creating a network of sports betting that can basically subsidize you all year round outside of the football thing. So whereas 4for4, I came on, we were just football, and my goal was to bring other sports. So we launched the sports betting side of it. So we started to do basically every other sport and get in there as well. So in the NBA, MMA, NASCAR, F1, you name it, we're trying to basically wet your whistle all year round over at 4for4.
By the way, I nailed every single match in the UFC this past weekend. So
nice.
Just so you know, I know all sports. I follow MMA because I fought, and I know a lot of MMA, UFC fighters, and boxed. I boxed for many, many years. I have a lot of guys that are so knowledgeable in boxing as well. But we do a show called Moneyline Mania on our weekend crunch show on 103.9 FM. And these guys are the best handicappers in the country. I would love to link them up with you guys. You guys would have a lot of fun with them. They're really, really good. And some of the best handicappers in the country. No lie on that.
Yeah, we actually, so we had a guy who actually, this is a great advice for anyone who's looking to get into the space. We had a guy who just kind of showed up in our Discord. Subscriber Discords nowadays are a huge value add, because not only, do you have access to folks like me that contribute to the site, but you get access to other smart people, like-minded folks that are just in there sharing ideas. And we had a guy who just was basically capping every sport, sharing picks, and just went on this absolute heater on the NBA side. So we got to talking, said, hey, is there any way that we can maybe find a way for you to, monetize your sharp picks? And he had a passion for MMA. We brought him on. Turns out he's a great writer. We started with him, and then we actually got another guy, Scott Smith, who's been in the space for years, Action Network, one of the top mock drafters in the space. Scott actually owns a bunch of gyms, training gyms and facilities down in the Southeast. So he knows, similar sounds like to you, lots of trainers, lots of fighters, and has lots of connections in the space. So Scott's basically taking us to the next level on the MMA side too. So yeah, always looking to hear of new people that I remember being in the space and trying to get up to a spot where I can make some money too. So anytime we can help others get to where they want to be, a lot of talented, smart people out there. So always have a willing ear.
You mentioned Connor Allen too. We actually had him on the show about a month ago as well.
Yes, we did. Connor's a funny guy too.
Yes. All right. So my question is, because we've had John Daigle on the show 3 times, what is your best John Daigle story?
Oh man, best John Daigle story. Daigle's an interesting cat. We actually, all 3 of us live here in the Chicago area too. So we're actually, the cool part is, Move the Line is the show that Connor and I have done for 5 years now. And then we just brought Daigle on as the permanent third. So instead of having him on as a guest all the time, now that he's in the fold permanently at 4 for 4, as you guys know, booking guests can be a challenge. You can have someone that can fit the role and be a permanent. That's a good role that slides right in. Daigle stories, man. He loves to do the worm at weddings. Big worm guy. Actually, Connor is on a honeymoon right now. He's out in Portugal and Spain with his lovely bride. Got married a couple weeks ago, and Daigle I think he's trying to make it a thing where basically he goes to different weddings in different states and does the worm.
Daigle jumped into his pack back. He's traveling with him and his wife, him and Connor.
Wait, yeah. Right, are you saying that John Daigle is doing his own wedding crashers?
If anyone of my friends would do that, it would be John Daigle. He has crashed on the couch on the other side of here multiple evenings. On his journeys over the years, but yeah, this is one of his. Now he's here permanently, but while he didn't have a home in Chicago, this would be one of them.
We all know why he's there permanently. He has a new girl, and I remember him having a conversation with us, and he's telling me, I was like, "Why did you move to Chicago, Mr. Daigle?" And he says, "Well, a woman." Are you married? He says, "No."
That'll do it. Part of why I'm stuck here in Chicago too, fellas. So I grew up actually in where Speedy looks like he's at Fenway. I'm a New Englander myself originally. Now I'm in Chicago, but I much rather be back with my mass holes.
Mass holes. That's pretty good. Oh man, there he goes. He's a Boston fan. They love you already, man. We have a lot of Boston fans that watch this show, and they can't stand us. That's why they listen to us.
My brother actually goes to school in Boston right now, and one just graduated. So nice works there.
Mass holes. I like that. I like that.
Well, I'm from New Hampshire, so that's what it was. When you're away and you're out, so you call it New England. But when you're in New England, there definitely is a separation and divide. So I was very close to the Massachusetts border and seacoast of New Hampshire, and we would have the mass holes would come up. To get no tax up in New Hampshire. They buy their booze on Sundays because everything's closed in Massachusetts a little bit earlier. So yeah, it's a term of endearment that we can call. It's like one of those things where like you could beat up on your brother or your sister, but if someone else messes with them, you start to puff your chest a little bit. So it's a term of endearment.
I've actually seen the Seacoast the semi-pro soccer team, Seacoast United or whatever it's called. I've actually seen the outside of their facility because my brother had a volleyball tournament right around there, and I actually recognized them because I broadcasted the AC Connecticut when I was in college, so I knew about them.
Yeah, you know what I would like to do? I would like to tape Speedy to a wall and play pin the tail on a donkey.
Oh my God, you're going back to this again.
We are talking to BetSperts sports betting manager Ryan Noonan. So why don't we get into some football conversation, because we just got off with Brandon Walker, who was fantastic. He gave us a good insight, but your insight with betting in the AFC East, a lot of people have Buffalo winning the AFC East with no problem. Do you see that as a guarantee going into the season with Josh Allen getting what he wanted. A lot of people getting what everybody wanted after that playoff game against the Kansas City Chiefs and losing the way they did. He didn't get a chance in the overtime to throw the ball. Do you think this is Josh Allen's year to get over the hump and get to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, I get why everyone's bullish on him for sure. And I do think that they are the class of the division. I think that, there are some improvements that people want to talk about on the Miami side. People want to talk about the Jets being better. I guess I'm sure we can get to that. But there's a lot to like with Buffalo. Obviously, the schedule is going to be a little harder than it was last year. They do have the largest rest advantage in the league, which is nice. You got to find any type of little edge that you can. They have on the course of the season, they have a 13-day rest advantage against their opponents, which is by far the largest in the league. They're favored in 15 to 17 games. The only two that they're not is that home opener or that opener against the Rams. And that's actually even shifting a little bit towards the Bills. The other one is at Kansas City. We've seen them over the years. Obviously, we all think about the playoff game that we saw last, but they won at Kansas City the last 2 years during the regular season. So that's not a place that they're afraid to go to. The other interesting thing, too, is they were 0-5 in one-score games last season. You just don't see that very often with really good teams. They typically close that out. And we just know historically over the course of time that the one-score game thing kind of regresses to the norm. So even if they go 2-3, 3-2 in that situation, again, they had exceeded and would have gone over their win total last year. Maybe they're hosting that game instead of going on the road. Those things change very differently. And then obviously the additions that they've made were very nice. I think the secondary gets a boost with how they addressed it with the draft, with Elam there. Hopefully Tre'Davious White comes back earlier than expected. And then obviously we have Von Miller coming in. And again, if he could just be a situational pass rusher for them, this is a whole nother level for this team. So yeah, I mean, Josh Allen, I don't think they miss a step with Brian Daigle being gone. Ken Dorsey's been there for years. I imagine they still continue to be heavy from a pass rate over expectation standpoint. So I do think they're by far better than every other team in that division.
They also got Joe Brady too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. I mean, Joe Brady, everyone was dying to give Joe Brady a coaching job. It seemed like for a little bit. And then, he was cut and then just set out there to die for a little bit. Yeah. But they brought him in to be the QB coach. Obviously that's not a bad thing either. It's a young guy that still, I think, is on an upward path.
Oh, stop. Carolina gave up on him. So
yeah, right. I mean, we know what happened there, right? Yeah, he knew. Right?
I like Ben McAdoo.
Yeah, you're one of the few.
I like Ben.
I like Ben McAdoo too. I'm with you.
Oh, all right, fine, Ryan. All right. You and Errol could join an exclusive
Ryan,
club.
Yes,
I like Ben McAdoo had the stones to know that Eli was fucking washed, and they needed to move on, and no one wanted to do it. He was kind of a little bit more progressive from like a pass rate standpoint.
Yes.
He was more aggressive on fourth down. He wanted to be that. So I think I don't know. I like that he is there. I think that's encouraging. Again, Matt Rule didn't want to mess with the up and coming guy, knowing that he's fighting for his job, fires him because they didn't run the football enough. Like, is this 1992? Like, you need to pass the football. It's your fault that you don't have the weapons to do so. They actually had the weapons. They just didn't have the quarterback to do so or the line.
They don't have the coach. Okay, because Matt Rule's an idiot.
I agree. Yeah.
I mean, Brady shouldn't have lost his job. Matt Rule should have lost his job, but Brady's now over there in Buffalo. Good luck for him. I mean, I don't know if it makes a difference, but him getting a job, everybody was talking about like his first year with Matt Rule. This guy's the next up and coming big time head coach, and then all of a sudden, a bad year, he gets fired. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with Carolina. That comes to my second question. By the way, we are talking to BetSperts Sports betting manager Ryan Noonan. What's going on with the Carolina Panthers? You make a trade for Sam Darnold with the Jets. You gave up a second and a fourth in this year's draft. The Jets absolutely won on that because they get Jermaine Johnson, and they did what they did. And then you decide this offseason, hey, Baker's available. They were drafted in the same draft at 1 and 3. Maybe we'll bring Baker in, and we'll have them play against one another and try to see who wins the job. Makes a lot of sense. But Baker Mayfield, only for a 5th-round draft pick, goes over there to the Carolina Panthers. What is the Carolina Panthers doing? I don't understand.
Well, we saw enough to know that Sam Darnold isn't it, right? And in this league, for all you want to talk about, like all the other things matter. They do matter. But if you don't have the quarterback, none of it really matters. So you have to continue to go out and take shots. Like you go out and try to see if you're going to have Matt Corral in the draft and see if maybe he's going to be a thing. And maybe they give him a chance again, but Baker too, like I feel like Baker was injured last year. I don't think he is obviously what we thought he might've been in a really small sample in his rookie year. But again, from the Carolina standpoint, it's like, hey, we know Sam's not it. Let's take some other shots at the board. If not, we're being in a position to take another shot next year in the draft, whatever we have to do. So again, they have weapons, right? The offensive line they poured some resources into. I think having, DJ Moore as a playmaker. I was a big Terrence Marshall guy coming out of LSU. He kind of stubbed his toe from the start last year. Hopefully he can get some footing. Robbie Anderson, I mean, again, part of that is I think quarterback play. A lot of that, starts to look bad. The most just empty air yards that you could ever think about. Just a guy who's just running flies.
Shutting his damn mouth. How about that?
Yeah.
Robbie Anderson just shutting his mouth and playing the game.
Never been his thing. Ask the local police officers in New Jersey if he's into shutting his mouth. It's not necessarily
all about that. Trust me.
Not his thing. So, when you look at it from like an EPA standpoint, I mean, Sam Darnold was just awful last year. 30 out of 31 qualifying quarterbacks. He was just, negative from a success rate standpoint, negative from an EPA per dropback standpoint, just below average across the board. So you have to go ahead and take shots. Baker, as bad as he was last year, was better than Sam Darnold. And if part of that was health and there's a little bit more left for Baker to prove, I think it's still not going to be enough to make a dent in that division, but I understand why they make the move.
Shameful, absolutely shameful for what the Browns fans did to that man. I am so disgusted, and I have a lot of respect for the Brown fans. The Cleveland Brown fans are the best. It's one of the best in football. But to push this guy out after him being drafted by your team, really been the savior, was one game away from going to the AFC title game because of a trick play by Kansas City, and he was one of the main reasons why they got there. And then just give up on him after the year after getting hurt, playing with a hurt shoulder, playing with the pain and the abuse that he got from the fans, and then attacking his wife on social media. Disgusting. They've got a lot of thinking to do, because they got a guy right now in DeShaun Watson that needs to stay on the field if he doesn't get suspended for the whole season with a couple of hand-me friends over there in the back room, if you know what I mean.
Even when the Browns are talented, they still find a way to screw it up. So my question is,
picture me rolling on that one.
Yeah. So my question is, being you're a betting guy, the division winner bets that we've seen a lot of this season, a lot of close ones so far. We were talking about the AFC East earlier. Is there anyone that you see good value in from a betting standpoint to bet at the start of the season?
We actually, on a Move the Line, did the NFC North last night, and I think the Vikings are an interesting team. I think that there are some questions, right? We like to do the transitive property of coaching often, where we see Kevin O'Connell has been hanging out with Sean McVay for years. So we think there's some strong correlation between bringing over the Sean McVay offense. And we do see it oftentimes, right? We see the pedigree and where you came from a coaching tree standpoint, that some of that stuff leaks over. But really, when you're moving from an archaic offensive system that Mike Zimmer had, and basically allowing his former, coaches to hire their sons to run your offense, and you run this very conservative, run the football, very predictive offense. And when you start to look at what you can get when you start to go three receivers and you start to be more aggressive, when you look at what the Vikings had last year, a ton of injuries, both sides of the football. Offensive line was a mess. But they ran more two-back sets than anyone in the league. Very, very old school. And they also, you would think, despite that, they also led the league in stuff rate, meaning the Dalvin Cook, whoever was in there, depending, they got tackled at the line or behind the line more than any other team. You would hope the fullback would help protect that. You're essentially adding another offensive lineman. They still led the league in stuff rate because you're very predictable. Now you're going to see the Rams had three receivers out there 87% of the time. They run a lot of 11 formation. You're going to see, I think, a spike in that with what the Vikings can do with Justin Jefferson. I think Adam Thielen has a little bit more meat on the bone. I think hopefully we can get a healthy Irv Smith season, already dealing with a thumb injury. But on the defensive side, they made some splashes too. They added some guys in the secondary in the draft that I think can come in and start day one. Zadarius Smith comes over from the Packers. If Danielle Hunter can stay healthy too, now you have some bookend edge rushers that can kind of hide some of the stuff that happens in the back end, which I do think will be better. So 3-1 for them to win that division. They are plus 105 on Caesars to make the playoffs. So maybe, a hedge thinking that the Packers can still be okay. But the Packers have a lot of questions. Now, again, they're still the Packers. They can be conservative and find a way to do it. But, I do think that there's a lot of hype around the Lions and the Bears. I still don't think those are very good football teams. So they got a couple wins in the division. And the schedule works out pretty nice for them as well. So the Vikings, I think, are an interesting look.
As everybody knows, we are talking to BetSperts Sports betting manager Ryan Noonan. Russell Wilson, the Denver Broncos, he heads over there, new team, new offense, new wide receivers, a lot more weapons. Where do you see this Broncos team? I obviously know what the defense is going to be. I think they're going to be very explosive. I think they're going to be one of the better defenses in all of the NFL, even losing a couple of defensive pieces in the offseason. They're still young and fun to watch. Where does this offense turn now with a quarterback that actually can throw the ball?
This is another example of the transitive property of coaching where we have Nathaniel Hackett coming over from Green Bay, right? So we're trying to think of what does that look like in terms of offensive play systems based off of what we've had in the past, both of what Russ had in the past and then what Denver had in the past from a playmaking standpoint. So last year, even though Green Bay plays very slowly, Green Bay was fourth in pass rate over expectation. I'm hoping that translates. We haven't seen Russ anywhere near even league average from a pass rate over expectation standpoint because we know they wanted to run the football so much. Very old school mentality up there in the Pacific Northwest. So again, continued, even though last year dealing with the injury, he still led the league just short of 10 yards, 9.9 air yards per attempt. So it's very easy to be excited about this offense, right? We have Cortland Sutton, even though we lost him, Patrick, Jerry Jeudy is, again, we've had very small bursts of Jerry Jeudy, but all those things are still there. When you look at separation, he led the league in separation at the point of throw last year. So like that guy gets, especially against man, he's going to get open. We haven't seen him. He's dealt with way more Drew Lock than anyone needs to. And then obviously a little bit of Teddy Bridgewater last year. So, right. And then we even had like Kendall Hinton getting game starts with all the stuff. Right. So I think massive upgrades. If KJ Hamler can come in, Albert O is a big old pass catching tight ends. Like there's a lot to like here. I think the offensive line is going to even be better than what he played with in Seattle too. Right. So like everything is kind of an upgrade. I think he's going to be in some more advantageous game scripts because I like the defense here. So, yeah, I mean, Denver, it's hard not to be really excited about Russ, who I think moves to a new spot and gets himself a shot to get back to that playoffs. That division is fun.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of receivers moving in the offseason too. Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, A.J. Brown all traded in the offseason. So from a fantasy perspective now, going with those three in new locations, different offenses, where are your expectations for them at their rankings?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'm a little down on Tyreek, again, in relation to where he's been in the past. But, are you guys Tyreek guys?
I'm not this year. I'm more on Waddle this year.
I love what Tyreek said on his podcast, thinking that Tua is going to be more accurate than Patrick Mahomes. I don't care what he's trying to sell. You're not selling any idiots that answer, okay?
Strong endorsement, but yeah, that's pretty dicey for sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like, I think he still could be okay, but again, from a fantasy standpoint, it's really about opportunity cost and what's going on around him. So at that point of the draft, often we're able to see, the Saquon Barkleys of the world, Aaron Jones, who we just talked about. I think Aaron Jones is going to have to step into a pretty massive pass catching role with that team. And we've seen that happen in small samples with Devontae Adams out. I think Devontae walks into a pretty nice system. Again, new quarterback he's familiar with, but also like, as a Patriots fan, pretty bullish on what Josh McDaniels has been able to do at times and how he's malleable based on the talent that he has. And I think he's smart enough to be able to go, hey, this is a difference maker that I haven't had before. And we have some others on the team that can make some plays, but let's make sure we're focusing on getting the ball to Devontae Adams. So I'm more bullish on him than probably the others. Obviously it's hard to argue with the talent of an A.J. Brown, but there are some interesting things that make me a little nervous because Philly was pretty, fearful to call anything over the middle. When you look at what happened last year, they were very conservative in throwing the ball over the field or over the middle of the field. They actually, by far, I believe 12% fewer passes to the middle of the field than league average. Wow. And that's where 65% of A.J. Brown's targets came last year. Runs a lot of drags, a lot of slants and soft stuff. Now, do they scheme stuff differently? And you think too, like what they had last year to throw to was a lot of like tight ends. We had Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert for a little bit. Goddard's running up the seams over the middle a lot, and that's kind of why he took a hit in fantasy too. So I get that from a quarterback standpoint when you think there's a lot of stuff going on over the middle of the field. And when I have maybe a limited passer in pocket, it makes it easier for me to be like, okay, your first and second look are to the left. And if you don't have it, then you probably break down and scramble a little bit. He's probably not getting to the point where he's progressing all the way across the fields, even to get to the middle. So I'm interested to see what they do from a schematic standpoint with A.J. Brown. The talent's through the roof. Obviously, that entire roster is exciting. But yeah, I'm a little down on A.J. Brown at cost in fantasy too.
Last question for me. The New York Jets, it seems like, every day you hear something about Zach Wilson. He looks great. He didn't look that good. He looks great. He didn't look that good. But in the last couple of days, people have been saying he looks unbelievable. He's throwing the ball off his back foot. He's throwing it 60, 70 yards to Elijah Moore. I don't know. I think the secret of the Jets' success this year is going to be Zach Wilson. But I think this defense is going to be fun. I think this offensive line is going to be a lot better if they could stay healthy. With Mekhi Becton moving to the right tackle position, Font had a good year. You added Lincoln Tomlinson, a Pro Bowl type of guard in this league. Elijah Vera Tucker was one of the best guards in the league last year. People forget how great he was when the Jets moved up to draft him with Minnesota. So what do you think of this team? And by the way, Breece Hall, Michael Carter Jr., I mean, this could be a good, really explosive running back core. Where do you see the Jets this year in their first year as a whole? And I mean, with Carl Lawson and a pass rush and some decent players that we can actually feel that the Jets are moving forward, not backwards.
You're a Jets fan, huh?
Yes.
Woo. That was,
yes,
that came
you
off.
Could say woof. You could say woof. Yes.
I respect the passion. I respect the sell job in there. There's a lot of optimism, which is runs rampant in August. So I respect it. I think obviously it's hard not to be a little bit more optimistic, right? Because things did go so poorly last year, and you referenced some of the injuries that they had, and I do think that obviously is a rough spot to get into when you're a first year coach and you're trying to come in. I wish that we would have had a different Zach Wilson post injury, right? The PCL sprain, and Mike White came in and, was again, check down Charlie and manage the games. But we just didn't get a way different version when he came back. He still looked like a guy that was a little bit out over his skis a little bit. And again, they've done all the things in the offseason. I think Elijah Moore is an absolute baller. You go out and you get, Garrett Wilson, really good. Again, we forget that a couple of years ago, not that long ago, Corey Davis was a top 10 pick at the receiver position. So they added talent, right? You added two actual
Denzel
pass
Mims looks
catchers.
good too, by the way.
Sure.
I've been hearing Denzel Mims.
This is the time of year, right? Best shape of his life, making some catches against guys that'll be selling insurance in a couple of months. Right, hard not to be fired up. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's all about Zach Wilson, right? All of it doesn't really matter. But they did the good thing you want to see if you're a Jets fan is they gave him all that he could do. Right? There can be no excuses, assuming everyone stays healthy or the majority stay healthy, that we set you up with all of the resources that you possibly need to take this team to the next level. What's the next level? I don't know. 7-8 wins for you? Would you be probably pretty happy, right? If you got 7 wins this year?
I think next year is the turn year where I expect the Jets to be playoff contention team every single year after that. So this year, I want to see growth. I want to see what this team is, see some of these young players really transform into the players we expect them to be as game-changing type of players. And then next year is when we expect the Jets to compete with the Buffalo Bills, the Patriots, and some of the best teams in the AFC and be a contender every single year.
Yeah. And so, like, from a foundational standpoint, I think you're there. You talked about the upside and the building blocks on the offensive line. It seems like that's Joe Douglas's plan, building from the, outside, inside out. There's some ifs there, but again, there's talent and there's draft equity at the positions that I think you want to see. Sauce Gardner, you don't often see first year early corners come in and be massively impactful year one, but this kid seems to be pretty special. That's really important if they're going to get to that 6-7 win period, because again, I still think that they are a weak in the back half. Pass rush, I think.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What is it with the NFL? Okay. The Jets were one of the worst teams in the NFL. Why do they have one of the hardest schedules this year? It doesn't make sense. How are you the fourth worst team in all of football, and your schedule is like one of the second or third hardest schedule in the whole season? It doesn't make sense. How is that fair? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, they are in the rotation based interconference wise. So yeah, they got the both Norths. They get the AFC North, which is a fairly tough division, right? You get the Ravens, the Bengals, the Browns, obviously talented roster, depending on, I believe is that early in the season though?
Yes.
Yeah,
all of them.
week 3.
They play.
Oh, that's
all
right.
the
The first 4.
Their first 4 games are the North.
So weird. I remember that. Yeah, I remember that being
Doesn't make sense. Of
yeah.
course they did that. They want to screw the Jets. Why not?
Super bizarre. But yeah, and then the NFC North as well, which, not too bad. But then their interconference games, or what's that last game? NFC West. Yeah, that's still, again, they're getting that random NFC West team. So yeah, all of these teams are, Seattle's not bad. But all of them have a little bit harder of a schedule than they should. But yeah, the Jets have the hardest schedule in the division, which you would think wouldn't be the case.
And you, as a Jet fan, you're like, okay, this is going to be a good year. And then when you look at the schedule, I like loss, maybe loss.
Look at that midseason stretch too, where they go Green Bay and Denver in back-to-back weeks, and then they host New England and Buffalo.
I don't know what the NFL is thinking. I get so, and this is, and I'm not saying that the NFL is screwing the Jets like the beef says. Everybody
the refs are screwing the Cowboys,
or the Rangers are getting screwed by the Toronto. I mean, I don't believe anything like that. But it does bother me when I'm a Jet fan. I'm looking forward to the season. I'm like, I'm looking at the schedule. I'm like, oh my God, this is what the Jets have to go against week in and week out. How do you expect to get momentum? How are you supposed to get a quarterback that is going to believe in the players around him where you're playing some of the top teams in the league? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. They have to rotate because, theoretically, you want to make sure every team, or you code every team, and every team comes to you in some sort of semblance of an order. But yeah, they definitely caught the wrong end of it for sure this year.
Maybe we'll get lucky and they'll win the first 3 out of 4.
Yeah, there you go.
I doubt it.
So my last question is, I know you're a Patriots fan, so a two-parter here. One, with Josh McDaniels now going to the Raiders, do you think he redeems himself, his second chance as a head coach? He didn't look good in Denver, and then obviously the debacle with the Colts. And also now with the Patriots having, wait for it, Matt Patricia and Joe Judge on their offensive staff. How do you think Mac Jones plays with those circumstances?
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, McDaniels thing, I think he, it felt like it was not that long ago, but he came back and was in New England for 13 years. So if it wasn't, the Denver stuff has been a long time. So he hopefully, I would imagine, has matured and learned from that. He steps into a fairly nice roster. Both of, I think, Minnesota and Las Vegas, you don't see coaching changes in those spots where those are playoff teams or teams on the, precipice of the playoffs. So I think that he'll learn from that. And, again, is acquiring a better roster than he had in Denver when he first got there. So again, that division is so loaded though, right? So he's fighting an uphill battle. They are, probably comfortably the 4th team in that division, but probably a playoff team if they're in the NFC. Patriots, I'll be honest. I mean, I'm still a Patriots fan. It'll always be. I have a 14-year-old son. His name is Brady. It was the 50 touchdown, 16-0 regular season. I'm sure there are Giants fans listening and celebrating that.
Yep, that would be me.
Yeah, gosh.
Best moment of my childhood for any of my teams.
Oh, God, please.
Rough run. It still stings a little bit, but yeah, fandom has definitely died down over the years because more is in the betting space. I'm a fan of whatever my card is that week more than any other team. So I'm optimistic about Mac Jones. I'm not super optimistic about the Patriots as a whole. I think they are worse on both sides of the ball, especially on the defensive side. And that was a big part of their success last year. I think they're weaker on all 3 levels, and that's going to be a problem. So I do think that Mac Jones is the answer. I think he's going to be okay. I think he can be a talent elevator, believe it or not. What he has from an offensive coordinator standpoint is going to be interesting. We'll find out how involved Belichick was from a game plan standpoint while McDaniels was in town, because I think some of that will then leak over to what happens this year, because we're having 2 defunct former head coaches that had nothing to do with the offense while they were in New England the first time, now in charge of your second-year quarterback. Like, it's not as bad as the Chicago situation with Justin Fields and, another play caller, a guy who's never called plays before, a coach that I don't think is really any good at even calling defense. That's a mess, and that's a bad actual roster. Pat's roster is better than what the Bears have for sure. But
That's not saying
anybody's going to be better than the Bears this year.
I know that under 5.5.
Way worse. It's Houston.
They're bad. So yeah, I mean, I don't think they made the playoffs. The AFC is just too damn good, to be honest. But I think Mac Jones is still pretty damn good at what he does too.
I actually, by the way, for everybody to know, I told everybody Mac Jones was going to be good, just so everybody was. And Jeff over there in Tampa, it's like, oh, if that dickhead Patriots draft Mac Jones, I'm going to kill them. And
then his boy went to pick later.
Yeah, but his boy didn't have such a good year. Mac Jones did. So figure that one out. So sell that one, baby. Anyways, we really appreciate you joining us, man. We'll definitely get you on again. Maybe get you on with Brandon Walker, and we'll go through every single game, every single team and our picks and where we think the division's going to be before the season starts in the next couple of weeks. Well, I want to get like 4 or 5 experts on. Maybe we'll get you and John Daigle on.
Yes, that's a great idea.
And a bunch of different guys, different personalities. And I think it'd be very interesting arguing where each division's going to be this year. And it'll be fun. I really do appreciate you joining us, bud.
Maybe we'll get John Daigle live at whatever wedding he's at.
Yeah, I mean, that guy is he's everywhere over the next couple of months. He, signs up for, any expo or fantasy draft. Yeah, but he's just trying to catch another wedding, right? So if you have a fantasy draft in a state he's never been to, he can check that off his list. So
just so you know, me and my friend were the first wedding crashers. That movie. There's a place called the Mediterranean Manor in Patchogue from where we live over here, my hometown. And what me and my friend used to do when we were in high school is when I was like 14, 15 years old, there was this place and it was always a wedding. So what we did was we used to wear slacks and a button-down t-shirt, nice button-down shirt. And we'd walk right in, make it seem like we had our cards, and we sit at the open table that has 2 chairs. And it always, every single wedding had an open table. And they would ask us, who are you here for? The bride or the groom? And we always kind of like changed it up. Like we're like stepbrothers and we're here for the bride. And everybody believed us, dude. We used to go in, we used to get free meals.
Yeah, nice. Open bar.
Oh, well, we were 14. So we had the people at the table actually buy us drinks. Or actually get us drinks. We weren't buying anything, but I don't drink, so he was drinking. I was just sitting there watching. But we were dancing with the bride and the groom. It made it. I'm serious. You can absolutely wedding crash if you know what you're doing. You can absolutely get away with it.
Yeah, I respect it too. I mean, free meals is good food, so
some of it. Yeah. So I'm a DJ, so I've been to a lot of different. I've done about 4,000 weddings.
Damn.
And some of the places. The food is disgusting, but it depending on where it's catered and everything like that, you're in good shape. But again, Brendan, Ryan, I called you Brendan. Ryan, we really appreciate you joining us, and we'll definitely get you on. Check out BetSperts Sports Betting. Ryan and his team are fantastic. Their shows their betting shows are awesome. And John Daigle, beware of your wedding and the crashing. Okay.
Can happen anytime, people.
That's right. Tell the fans how they can find you on social media.
Yeah, at Ryan Noonan on the Twitter machine, 4for4.com/plans. Best way to get access to everything that we have going on over there. Get you the betting sub, which means it gets you everything on the site as well. So if you're still doing redraft leagues, best ball, high stakes fantasy, and all the betting content that you could possibly ever want for all sports, but especially football is where we do our best. Feel like we have some of the best projections in the business, and we leverage those against the prop market until we get shut down, and then we shift it to a different book and we keep going.
Well, we'll hook you up with our handicappers. I think you really like them. They're great in all sports, baseball, basketball. We have a guy that is, first of all, our Moneyline Mania show is at 83%. 7 months of having him on the show and their picks throughout the week is at over 83%. That's how crazy they are with their picks. It's fantastic. They really are great.
If you're hitting 54%, you're doing
you
pretty
should
damn
see what
good.
they're doing. 1 week they were 12. What were they? 12.
Chaz was 12-1 one
12
week. Yes.
and 1. It's unbelievable.
Last week hit a couple of trifectas too at the horse race he was at.
Jeez, he's my kind of guy. I love the ponies.
So I'll hook you up with those guys. You really like them.
Appreciate you, fellas.
Absolutely. Ryan Noonan, manager, Bet Spurt Sports. I like it. Spurt Sports. Media. You like that, Speedy? You like you like roosters? You like what do you like?
Roosters.
You like roosters?
I'm
Now,
fine with roosters.
Give me your cock-a-doodle-doo, okay?
No, I can't do it.
You're horrible.
Yeah, that
man.
was horrible.
You're horrible.
I can't.
I'm not going to ever
do
ask
high
you to do
pitched.
it.
I can't do high pitched.
I am never going to ask you to do a monkey sound or anything again.
No, I can't do high pitched.
You can't do anything.
I
I'm
did the
serious.
dog. I did the dog.
Oh,
fine.
give me your best dog. That's what is that? Killer dog? We got Cujo over there.
Maybe.
You guys are alive.
That's directed at you, Ryan. Don't worry.
Don't worry, Ryan. He's over there. He can't jump through the screen and bite you.
Appreciate you, fellas.
See you later, Ryan. Ryan Noonan, guys. Great. Fantastic. He really is. We're going to get him on. Why don't we bring him in? Is he over there?
No, I looked like he left the screen.
Oh, my God. We almost had him. We're waiting for the crazy man to get into the
Doug,
section.
you're going to get your wish.
You're
supposedly.
Yes, you're going to get your wish as our pal, Speedy. Kenny will be joining us in just a few moments. I don't know what he's doing.
He left the room.
Is he smoking some wax or something?
Maybe.
Is he doing something over there? I don't know. He's lost.
I don't know.
I am very interested to see what Kenny has been doing for the last couple of, years since the last time we talked to him. Yeah.
Doug says,
here
there he is.
Oh, he's got his drink.
Oh, and his Kiss shirt. I like it.
What are you pouring over there, Ken?
I'm drinking water. Yeah, what's up, guys? I told the world I'd be here. Yeah.
He's drinking water, ladies and gentlemen.
I was sitting the link out and I said, I am waiting backstage on this show.
Oh, yeah, you're waiting backstage, and now you're in stage, up and personal with Kenny, ladies and gentlemen. Know you, City Sports, baby. Right?
That's right.
Kenny, are you smoking wax still?
Yeah. Smoked a little bit before tonight, but
it's legalized
I
now.
did have a 2-hour nap or a few hours nap. I woke up at 8 and I was like, oh, I didn't miss the show. Yeah.
No, like Kenny, you do owe us a Thanksgiving dinner. You know that, right?
Yeah, from 4 years ago, Kenny.
I know that.
Kenny, we're lost here. Where's Pops, man? How's Pops doing?
He's pretty good. He wouldn't be up now. He passes out like 10 p.m.
He passes out, so Kenny's hanging out, talking sports. You know what you should do? You should give your father a swirly. You know that? You should give him like or what do they call it? Wet willies? You lick your lick your finger and stick it in his ear. You want to do that?
No, he's not here. I live alone.
Oh, Kenny lives alone? Is that possible?
Yeah, I've lived alone for over 10 years. So
Kenny, you are the man.
Even I was out before that too.
What have you been doing, Ken?
I'm just chilling, man.
What do you do for work, Ken?
I went to a Giants practice. Yeah.
Oh, look at you. Kenny. Who do you got this year? What do you think of your Giants? Let's hear it.
They looked pretty good.
They looked pretty
good. Well, they looked great.
Mm-hmm. That's it?
Which units looked great? Because somebody has to look bad or other units to look great.
I mean, I enjoyed the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. All right, which units looked great specifically?
He enjoys the whole thing, man. That's it.
The offense looks great. Defense,
okay.
All right. Who's your favorite player on the Giants right now? There's no more Eli, so don't bring up Eli. He's no longer on the team.
Daniel Jones is pretty good.
Oh, you like Daniel Jones?
Yeah.
You think he's the quarterback of the future?
I'd say so.
All right. I like Kenny. Kenny says so. And when Kenny says, goes. That's right.
Kenny has his crystal ball.
Kenny's got his crystal ball. He's wearing his Kiss shirt. He's ready to rock, baby. Where is my artwork, by the way, bud?
Well, you never sent me your address.
I'll send you my address, man. I better get something. I want to put it on my wall. I want the best portrait of Kenny.
I'll give you an 8x10.
All right. Have you sold any of your artwork?
Yeah, I sold a few paintings.
Really? Look at you, Kenny. You're an entrepreneur. I'm liking this. Good for you, man. Where have you been working, bud?
Well, I'm not working anywhere right now, but I'm trying to come up with big ideas.
Big ideas. Oh, let's hear
big ideas for paintings that you could sell again.
Let's hear one of your ideas.
Well, there's this guy in my building. He's a musician, and he might try professional Twitter. I might run it for him.
Oh,
He's thinking about
professional
it.
Twitter. Okay, I like that.
How do you do professional Twitter?
He's
Kenny?
a social media guy. I like
You
that.
can sign up for it, and then there is a professional side to it.
I think you know what you should do? You should create your own underwear. You should get
I don't
tidy
know about that.
whities in white, and you can paint them all different, different things, and you can sell them in the stores, man. Tidy whities from Kenny. Kenny's tidy whities.
I don't know about that. I'm not well known. If I
you
can
are
run
well
somebody's Twitter, I'm good at Twitter.
You're good at
Sell some more
everything, Kenny.
paintings. You might be well known.
You're good at everything, Kenny.
I'm just saying, I'm pretty good
How
at
about a
Twitter.
cupcake? How about you discover and make some cupcakes with Snug the cat?
Yeah,
do
Uncle
somebody's
gladly send you
Twitter.
those.
Kenny, why are you so quiet tonight? I mean, you're never quiet. Are you drunk? You high? What are you doing over
No,
there?
I'm quiet. I don't know. I'm just relaxed.
You're relaxed, so you've been doing something over there, huh?
I mean, it's hard to be quiet when you call in, and then you got a few minutes to talk.
Well, you're talking a lot right now, Kenny.
You're on the screen. You got exclusive features now.
You know, Snug says I'd love to make some cupcakes with Kenny.
Oh, Snug, that's the dream for you. Snug's been waiting for that
Nobody
for
wants to
years.
call in. I thought you're gonna have like Jeff.
We
and
do.
all
We
those
get
guys
people to
call
I'm sure
in.
Snug will call in.
We'll call it.
Snug, you gonna call in now that Kenny's on?
We'll call it Kenny's Cakes. Kenny's Cakes. How about that? You like that? I like that.
That's pretty
Kenny's
good.
Cakes. I like that.
What do you think of the Yankees?
What do I think of the Yankees? What do I think about the Yankees? Well, they're playing like crap since the All-Star break. What are they?
Yeah.
6-8 right now?
6-8, and I think they're 2-7 against like teams over 500.
So they've looked like crap. Garrett Cole gave up 3 home runs in the first inning yesterday. It was wonderful. It's definitely something that really stood out to me over the week so far. The Yankees have looked like garbage. But what do I think they are? Listen, they're a playoff team. They're one of the top 3 teams in the league. I mean, you can argue it's the Dodgers, the
going through a
Yankees,
rough
and the
patch.
Houston Astros. Yeah, they're going through a rough patch, and we expected this. I always thought, especially in the second half of the season, that the Yankees were going to hit but Giancarlo Stanton's not in the lineup right now. He's coming back. Once this lineup gets back to whole, I think this is as good a lineup as any in baseball. So what do I think the Yankees are going to be? Well, we have to see what Montez is going to do. And we'll see if Montez is the guy and you add another arm to that rotation. The Yankees could be very hard to beat in the playoffs. I mean, they really could. But the question is, did Brian really make the right moves at the trade deadline and was going to get them where they wanted to go? And that's the World Series. There's no guarantees to win the World Series, but you want to get into the show. And then, wherever the ball lies, it lies. But
And then whoever wants it the most gets it.
well, the only team I think could beat the Yankees right now in the American League is Houston.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't think
to say that.
I don't if Cleveland got in or Chicago got in or Blue Jays or any of those teams get in, I don't think they could beat the Yankees, and especially in a certain amount of games in a series. But Houston is dangerous.
My friend Steven Runnerman does play-by-play on YouTube and Facebook, and
Oh yeah,
he thinks the Astros are going all the way.
Oh,
He's
look
a
at
Giants
him.
fan.
Look at him, man. I mean,
Oh, he's a Giants fan, so he's just trying to take shots at the Padres and Dodgers, I say.
No, he really thinks it's the
how about we get?
Astros.
Why don't you call your friend right now? Put him on, and so I can yell at him and tell him that I've got
I don't
underwear
know.
with your name
He's
on.
all in California. I don't know if he.
Come on, it's 3 hours. I mean, it's like 7:00 over there, 7:51. He's up.
I'll send him the link.
You send him the link. Why don't you put him in? I want to hear what's this guy's name?
Steven Rudderman.
Steven Rudderman. Oh,
Steven Rudderman.
Rudder the man.
YouTube Yankees broadcasting.
YouTube sensation. What do you think about Brian Cashman saying that Luis Severino will likely be out until the postseason? I mean, who would have thought that?
Sucks.
I mean, Montgomery. That questions why they traded Montgomery. It didn't make sense. I mean, unless they think Harmon is the guy and he's going to fill in. Now, Harmon had a very good outing. He really did look good in his first outing. But is he going to do that consistently? And he's got to keep his hands to himself. Because if he keeps hitting people, including his wife, he'll be getting another suspension and probably never play again in the major leagues. But Harmon obviously was a good addition to the Yankees rotation. So, I don't know why Brian Cashman decided to trade Monty, which they call Montgomery, but
They
Montgomery
got
wasn't
instead.
Well, but that's one guy that you lost Severino for the season.
No, I know. I'm just saying you replaced one Mont with the other.
Well, that's true. And then you know now you're going to be fishing for another pitcher. And you had one in Montgomery. I don't know. And they lost Hill. What's his name again? Luis. Who's the guy that they had the rookie last year?
Yeah, Luis
Hill. They lost Hill for the season. I mean, it's Tommy Johns, so he's not going to be back. So I mean, if you're a Yankee fan right now, the Yankees are in trouble. I mean, the rotation is not at full strength, and you traded Montgomery for what reason?
Their bullpen's kind of streaky too since Kings got hurt too, so they're gonna have some things to fix with that.
Did you hear that the Yankees were very close to trading for Lopez on the Marlins, the pitcher?
Pablo Lopez? Wow. Yeah, I know they were trying to fleece. The Marlins were only going to do it if they were going to try to fleece some teams.
They wanted Gleyber Torres.
Yeah, of course.
I sent the link, and I said
the
these
Yankees-
sports guys want to talk to you.
What happened?
I said that these sports guys want to talk to you.
They want to talk to us?
No, I said to my friend, these sports guys want to talk to you.
Tell them, listen, we got an underwear for trophy for him, okay? We'll have
I don't
Kenny's
know if he's
dirty
going to show
underwear.
up. I sent him the link. It's up to him to show up.
Well, tell him we got Kenny's dirty underwear. How's that?
No, I don't think that's going to.
You don't like dirty underwear? Do you have dirty underwear on?
Probably.
Yeah. When was the last time you took a shower, Kenny?
Took a shower today.
Oh, then they're clean. You got clean underwear on, unless you wear the same
They're
underwear.
a few hours old.
All right, so they're clean.
So they were clean when you put
Who
them
does
on,
your-
and now they're not.
Who does your laundry, Kenny?
Me.
You do your laundry? Look at you,
Yeah.
Kenny. You're
Why
an
I do my laundry?
entrepreneur, man. You know how to clean your laundry. Do you cook? Are you a good cook?
I'm a simple cook. I can handle
What are you
simple
like?
stuff.
The macaroni and cheese, pastina, that kind
Yeah,
of.
things of that nature.
Yeah. What's your favorite thing to cook?
Well, I like to order stuff for the most part.
Ordering's not cooking, Kenny. I mean, what do you
He
like
asked
to
what
cook?
you wanted. What is your favorite dish to cook?
What do you like to cook?
I'm pretty good at eggs.
Eggs. I mean, anybody's good at cooking eggs. I mean, what do you like it? Sunny side, scrambled. What do you like it?
Scrambled
Eggs. So if I came over, could you make me a good, pile of eggs?
I could probably make you a couple.
A
I'd be
couple.
good at that.
You don't want to share? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
You'll get your eggs before
You
you
know,
get your-
sharing is caring.
You'll get your
Kenny.
eggs before you get your Thanksgiving dinner.
I
gotta
will make
share.
four eggs total, so that's sharing. Yeah.
No, that's not sharing enough, Ken. I mean, I want some eggs. I'm hungry.
You want all four?
I want 5, man. When I eat eggs, I eat 6, 5, 7. I'm a monster,
Too many
man.
eggs.
230 pounds of brute strength and muscle, baby.
Too many eggs, man.
Too many eggs. What do you think? I'm going to die from eggs?
No, I'm just saying it's too many.
What's too many to you? You don't think I can eat a carton of eggs?
I'm saying that 2 or 3 eggs is fine per person.
Listen, Kenny.
There's gonna be
Kenny, how
there's
much?
gonna be bread and maybe bacon.
How
and
much do you
stuff.
weigh, Kenny? How much do you weigh, Ken?
I don't know, like 215,
Okay, and how tall are you, Ken?
6'5".
You're 6'5".
Wow.
And 215 pounds, Kenny. I'm 5'10" and I'm 230.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm a beast, man. I'm a monster.
Okay.
You're very quiet over there, Kenny. What's wrong?
Nothing.
Kenny, Snug has a question for you. Will you get a tattoo, a polar bear tattoo, if the Mets win a World Series?
He's a Yankee fan, so that'll be it.
I'm a Yankees fan.
All right, so you know what we're gonna
I care
do?
about the Mets.
If the Yankees win, you need to get a tattoo. Okay.
No.
Gotta be
I
on your
already
ass.
Got a tattoo. It hurt
Gotta be
like
on your
hell,
ass.
And I'm good. And
No, we want you to get a tattoo. You got to have a Yankee sign on your ass, right cheek,
now, why do I need to do that?
because it gives the Yankees all the credit in the world to win the championship for you.
Maybe you have to make your friend get
He's
something.
asking
He's taking the
questions.
Astros
Who
to
are
win the
they?
World Series.
I already have that question. Who are these people? And I'm going
Snug is a long
Snug's your
time
boy,
fan.
man. Snug's your boy.
He's one of our fans that has he's a big time fan of When You Call.
Wax a doodle do, you know? You got to wax that ass.
I'm
before you
answering
put that
my
in.
friend with the name of the people.
Snug the cat. That's his name.
No, I'm saying he asks, who are they? Like, who are you
Oh,
guys?
your friend over there. Tell him
we're the Sports Loudmouths.
Tell him we're the greatest of all time. We are the voices of sports, and we got you to get a tattoo on your ass if the Yankees win the World Series.
No, I'm still not going to do that.
Still not, come on.
You should make your friend do it if he's betting the Astros.
I mean, come on, man. You tell him, like, come on the show.
The Yankees will probably have to beat the Astros
We'll
in order
slam
to get there.
dunk them, you know. We'll dunk them. We'll treat them, you know, with respect. But, you know, maybe when we're done, we'll put a pair of your dirty underwear on his head.
No, we're not going to do that.
Well, he's your friend, right?
I just said what you guys were, Worldwide Sports Radio Network, out Long Island.
Kenny, you know who we are. I mean, we don't
Yes,
have.
I know who you are. He doesn't.
Well, tell him that. Tell him we're the greatest.
I explained. I said who you were. So it's up
You
to
know,
him. He's reading the message.
Snug says he's more interested in your turkey dinner.
So now it's you, Pete, Snug, and who else?
No, Pete. I'm sorry, no Snug. It's me, Edie. You know, maybe
He
Ryan.
now says,
We'll
my
get you
friend
Ryan
said,
Hick.
give me 5 minutes. So 5 minutes.
Oh, we're gonna get your friend on. Oh, this is gonna be wonderful. I can't wait for this one. Is he another character like you?
Yeah, he's a little bit younger. He's like in his 20s.
Oh, he's in his 20s. Oh, we got a
Late
smart
20s, but yeah.
A smart guy. Look at that, Speedy. We got a guy your age.
Snug says, "Oh, I do like bacon, and I'm more interested in the turkey dinner. And are you good at making coleslaw?"
I hate coleslaw, so no.
I do too. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
I can't stand
Speedy, while we're waiting for the good old Ken or Ken Wood's friend, what's his name, by the way?
Steven.
His name's Steven. Yeah.
And what show does he do?
He just does play-by-play of a San Francisco Giants game.
All right. So Steven from the San Francisco Giants, play-by-play on YouTube, will be joining us. He has his own thoughts about the Houston Astros going all the way. And I've got news for good old Stevie when he gets on. Anyways.
Snug says, I knew Kenny was smarter than the beef, LOL. And it's his name, Benny. No, Snug, his name is Steven.
All right, Speedy, what do you think about this NFL setting to appeal the DeShaun Watson 6-game suspension?
I'm not surprised. Roger Goodell is going to want to put his ego
Talk
into
about suspensions. My channel got suspended.
Well, why? Were you showing dirty things on that
No,
show?
I think it was a troll because I was just putting up a regular video of me chasing birds, which I do all the time.
You chase birds?
Do you fly, Kenny?
Why? Hold on
No.
one second. Hold on one second. Before you answer
These
that
birds
question.
also swim.
Oh,
They're
hold
freaking.
on one second.
So you're chasing ducks?
They are they're
Swans?
one of those things. The geese, they're fucking gross. They shit all over Hudson Park near where I live.
So hold on one
And-
second. Kenny, before we get into the Deshaun Watson situation, because I want Speedy to answer my question. So what you do in your spare time is record yourself attacking geese. Is that
No,
is
I
it
don't
right?
attack them. I just chase them a little bit. Then I
Or you
film
chase
it.
him a little bit. So what do you do when you chase him?
I just go, no, you, and I walk into the water, and then I.
Hold on one second. So you chase him into the water and then you swim with him.
No, I don't.
So why would you go into the
Yeah.
water then?
I don't know. It's maybe
You
for a
don't-
goof
For a goof? Are you high when you're doing that, Kenny?
sometimes.
Figured.
And they said that it was what that I was trying to cause violence, and I'm like, where's their proof of that? I appealed it, and I lost the appeal.
You lost the appeal. You're looking
I
at a jail.
definitely hid the guy that reported the video. Yeah, I hid that guy.
So wait a second.
Screw him.
You put a video of you chasing geese into the water on YouTube. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. It's on TikTok too. Nobody reported on TikTok because that troll is
That's
out there.
TikTok because it's funny. What the hell are you thinking? Putting it on YouTube? Kenny,
I put videos like that before and nobody reported it.
Kenny, how many people
The
you
geese then
know
report it?
I should
run
have kicked that
after
guy off my channel a long time ago then.
you are
I
one
already changed his name.
Oh,
We
here's
might
your
have
friend.
Steven.
Here's Steven. I mean, we got We got Kenny, the AKA No You City Sports, and now a seated. What is it? Steven Rudderman.
Ruderman, how are you guys doing?
All right, Mr. Ruderman, our friend Kenny over here. He's a big fan of the show. He told us a little bit about you, and he said on your play-by-play, I guess your YouTube page, you said that the Astros, no doubt about it, are going all the way this year.
I didn't say they were going all the way. I'm saying they're my pick for the American League.
Why is that?
They always seem to find a way in the postseason. I still feel like the Yankees are lacking starting pitching, and I just feel like the Astros, they've been there before. They're a determined team, and they know how to get it done in the postseason.
They do. They cheat, and they do all that stuff, too.
Well, yes, that too.
And they're very good at doing that, too. So maybe if they're banging a couple of garbage cans in their, dugout, maybe they'll have a better chance. I think the Houston Astros are a very, very good team. They're very talented. They made some pretty good, clean moves at the trade deadline. I still wonder about that team as a whole. I don't know how strong, even though their bullpen has been good this year, I don't know how strong their bullpen is going to be in the playoffs. And if you're going to trust in their rotation of what the rotation is, yeah, their rotation looks good in the regular season. They do have Justin Verlander. But again, I still wonder about the team as a whole and how good this offense is going to be in a playoff series against one of those top teams like the Yankees, who will be able to hit against them and hit.
I still go for Yankees, right?
I mean, I think there's a good chance we're going to see another Yankees-Astros ALCS, and there's a good chance we're going to see that series go 6 or 7 games. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, I believe that too.
Well, what are you, a San Francisco Giants fan?
Yes, sir. Yes, I am.
So do you think that the stories are true that Aaron Judge, after this season, might be on his way to San Francisco? I know he grew up a San Francisco Giant fan. I know he grew up in the Bay Area. He just got married. Maybe he wants to move there and raise his kids where he was born and where he was raised. What are your thoughts to that? Do you think Aaron Judge is on his way out and going
What
to
if the
San
Yankees win it all? Then he might stay.
Nah, I don't think so.
I can't imagine the Yankees letting him go. The Yankees, at least under when George was around, had a history of giving out very, very big contracts. I get it. Hal may not be given as much of those contracts, but I cannot imagine the Yankees would just let him walk away.
Yeah, that's right.
How about you, Speedy? What do you think?
I think when you look at the Giants, they're definitely going to spend for somebody if they don't do it. Now, I know you went through the little bit of a phase from 2016 where they're giving out all those big contracts. They finally shedded a lot of those. So now they finally have the money to make that kind of thing work. So if it's not Aaron Judge, I think it'll definitely be somebody else. But I'm kind of with him at this point. I was thinking at the beginning of the season, the Padres, but then now obviously they traded for Juan Soto, so they're out of that now. And the Giants now are that next other team, because the only other team that was listed was the Angels, but the Angels, they're all over the place, so I don't trust them.
Yeah, the Giants have never had good luck giving out large contracts, and that has not been the MO of Farhan Zaidi. That was the MO of Brian Sabian and Bobby Evans, and with all due respect to them, they did leave us with quite a mess for Farhan to clean up, which is why the rebuild is taking longer than expected. I just hope the Giants don't do it, because when the Giants won 3 championships a decade ago, they did it without any big superstar players. And when you look at these teams that sign the big players, with the exception of the 2020 Dodgers, you don't see a lot of teams with the big contracts win World Series.
So how long have you known Kenster over here?
I have known Kenny for 6 years.
6 years. So Kenny's been a big fan of yours. Did Kenny ever send you any of his nice drawn paintings that he has over there?
I think he may have.
Look at you, Kenny.
And Kenny, good friend of mine, and Kenny is a great man. And Kenny, thank you so much for having me come on here. And thanks to you guys for having me on.
Absolutely. Just by the way, stay away from chasing geese like Kenny, because, I have no idea
Your
what Kenny is.
channel shut down for 2 weeks.
maybe Kenny, that should be your next painting idea. You should paint yourself chasing geese.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me. It was a pleasure.
Stephen Ruderman. Very, very nice kid. Very, very nice kid.
All right.
Kenny, look at you. You got us hooked up on with one of your friends. Look at that.
Yeah, that's right.
Are you
Now
hooked
I
up
got
on
some
wax
more
right now as
exposure.
we speak?
What?
Are you hooked up on wax right now, Ken?
Yeah, I'm on weed, yeah.
Yeah, you're on weed. I mean, Kenny, you're just rocky tonight, man. You're the king, man. What is he saying over here?
Snug says, "Stick with your art, Kenny. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." Did you ever catch the birds? LOL. The Yankees cheated too. Whatevs. Who doesn't? It could be Jacoby Ellsbury. And could I hide?
Yeah.
Could
Cheating's
Snug
part of the
hire?
whole baseball thing now. It's what you get used to.
He's drinking a lot of water over there.
Well, yeah. Hey, all that weed must make your mouth dry. Snug says, "Could I hire you as a goose chasing guide?" Well, you got a seal of approval over there from Snug, Kenny. You're doing any goose chasing guides for people?
You know,
with your YouTube page?
Never cease to amaze me with Kenny, man. I mean, there's always a funny story with this guy. I mean, all the crazy Miami Heat. He's on a boat. You know, he's on a cruise, and he's calling us up and telling us about the women on the boat. Who calls a radio show on a cruise? But Miami Heat does. And now Kenny tells us, we haven't had Kenny on for at least a year. Kenny comes on and tells us he's chasing geese into the water. And that's why his YouTube got shut down.
Maybe next thing you know, there'll be Miami Heat will be on a cruise. They'll end up docking at one of the waterfronts where Kenny's chasing geese.
The geese chaser.
The worlds will come together.
The worlds will collide when Kenny chases your geese into the water. You know, maybe Snug will have a couple of geese for you to chase at his house.
Maybe Snug will bake some cupcakes and start feeding the geese.
There you go.
Kenny would chase. Of course he would. If he knew Kenny was involved, he'd get a 24
You're not taking any phone calls tonight?
What'd you say?
You're not taking any phone calls tonight?
No, we will.
If somebody calls, we will answer.
We'll answer the calls, Kenny. I mean, do you want somebody to call for you, Ken?
Doesn't have to, but
Do you want to talk to somebody?
I can talk to anybody.
You want to talk to somebody? Should we get Snug to call you? Because I think Snug
Come on, Snug. You know you want to call with Kenny on.
I mean, anybody. I'll talk to anybody. I'll even talk to that guy that is always behind, Jeff.
Oh,
always behind.
That would be
No, I'm
Snug.
saying he'd always, if I called late, he'd always be ahead of me. If I called early, then it's like, well, I'm not waiting behind a lot of people.
Well, now you got you went to the exclusive end. Now you're on video.
So
which we've never had Jeff or Snug on.
No, why don't we get Snug to call the show?
Come on, Snug. You know you want to call.
Let's get Snug to call the show and ask you some questions. I think Snug would give you some.
Right, I just got a message. My friend greatly appreciated that guy on my show.
Tell him, Steven, thank you.
That might help his career. He's trying to be a play-by-play guy in the industry.
Well,
And
we're trying
they
to
go,
help.
what sports shows have we seen you on? And he could say this one.
Yeah, there you go. And we got Snug the cat ready to ask you some questions.
Welcome, Snug.
Oh my goodness.
What's up, Snug?
All I can say is sometimes dreams come true.
All right.
And this is one of those times. Kenny, you are the man, bro. You have no idea how long I've been.
Thanks, Snug.
Please promise me that you will call in much more often. The show is not the same without you, bro. I need to know more about this geese chasing thing because it sounds like fun, and I'm not into it. I just need
Something
to
I
know more about it.
do kind of as a
Is there a
goof for
certain thing that
videos.
sets you off with the geese? Like, do they look at you the wrong way?
No, it's just they shit all over the park. It's kind of gross.
How does that work?
Go ahead. Tell us what Snug asked you.
I'm saying they shit all over the park. It's kind of gross. It is.
So he says they crap all over the park, Snug, and that's gross.
Okay. Well, sometimes that happens. But yeah, when you're chasing the geese, do you ever get like a handful of tail feathers? Or
No,
like,
I
you
never
ever
get
like,
that
the wings?
close.
Is it that close, or is it more like
The whole point of the video is I'm
away?
kind of chasing them, but I'm never chasing them so far that I would like bump into them and be that cruel.
What's he saying?
So it's kind of like a video goof.
So he's saying that he doesn't chase him where he's that cruel or trying to grab them. He just wants to lure them into the water so they leave him alone.
He wants to be a magnet.
Okay, so what you got to do, bro, answer to so many more things in life than you know is cupcakes. So what you do is go find a cupcake place that has day or two old cupcakes. you got to lick the icing off yourself, right? Because ducks aren't going to do that. So, and then you crumble it up and you throw it in, and the sweetness will attract both the ducks and the fish in the pond. And they'll like kind of duel it out. It's kind of fun. That way you just, that way you distract the ducks, right? So that they're not crapping all over the park anymore. They're just crapping on the fish, which is the fish's problem, not yours.
All right.
So
Here's an idea. So, Kenny, next time you go to chase the geese, do what Snug was mentioning with the cupcakes, and then have your friend broadcast a geese versus duck duel if it does ever happen.
Well, I'll be broadcasting that.
that would be outstanding.
I'm the
I
person
mean,
that
that's
films all
pay-per-view
this.
material. People put money into that.
I'm the person that films it.
I mean,
I don't have any friends.
You can film it. You film it and
Snug,
have
he's
Steven
the
broadcast it.
He's the person that films it. So he's the director, the producer, the writer, and everything.
Wait, I can do TikToks for next 2
Kenny,
weeks.
don't let
I
him
just
have
can't
final
put-
edit, though, bro. That's you. You get final edit.
I'm saying I can do TikToks for next 2 weeks. I just
Wrestling
can't put
you can
anything on
take care of,
YouTube.
but you want that. Trust me.
He wants you to watch his TikTok. So why don't you give all the fans your TikTok, Kenny, so they can see you chasing geese?
All right, it's Wong Brain.
What is it? What is it?
Wong Brain TV.
Is it warm brain? What is it? Wrong brain? What is it?
No, Wong Brain TV.
Spell it.
Long Brain TV.
How are you a long brain? How is it?
Underscore no you 666.
That's a long name right there, Kenny.
Long name for a long brain.
Long Brain TV at, what is it?
Underscore no you.
Underscore no you 666. Kenny's TikTok, ladies and gentlemen. Kenny, thank you for joining us, bud. Keep chasing those geese, baby.
What about my
Kenny, thank you so much, bro. You made my night. Call in so much more often. You make so much more sense than the beef. I love hearing from you.
Do you guys have my Twitter?
What's your Twitter,
What is your Twitter, Kenny? We now have to know.
All right, it's at KCTVZ, capital K, capital Z.
Oh, it's Snug. You're going to have to get this. Write this down, Speedy.
I'm actually just researching it now. KCTV, say the rest.
KCTVZ.
KCTV.
Oh, I think I have it. Ken TV covering. Yeah, I think I got it. I think
Council
I just.
culture. Yeah.
Yes, I got it.
do
Yeah,
cover
I
that.
just gave it a follow.
There you go, Kenny. We give you a follow.
And if you know somebody at the Orange County Fair, I'll be doing a puppet show there at 2
You're doing a
p.m.
puppet show? Oh my God.
This
Kenny at the
Sunday.
puppet shows.
No way.
This Sunday, if you are at the Orange County Fair, I'll be there.
All right, here's another addition. Now you have to include the puppets in this video of you chasing the geese and the duck,
That
and
would
then
be
turn to
good.
the duck duel.
Puppets are hard
Geese
to
duel
bring
with
to
your
a
brother.
park. It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. So a puppet show at a county fair. If you want to see Kenny and his puppet show, what's the puppet show called?
No, I'll just be at the Orange County Fair around 2 p.m. on
So
Sunday.
what's the puppet show called?
What is the premise of the puppet show?
I don't know. My friend set it up. I'm getting paid $200.
$200 to do a puppet show? Lead me on, Kenny. Lead me on.
All right, Errol will go full Jeff Dunham.
That's good work if you can get it.
That is
$200
good
for a
work.
puppet
That's
show.
right.
$200 for a puppet show.
I wrote a pretty
do it
funny
for
one.
150.
I think so. Okay, thanks for having Steven and me on.
Absolutely, Kenny. We'll talk soon, my
You can
friend.
find Steven Ruderman on all social media under that name.
You are the best, Kenny. You are the best. Kenny, a.k.a.
Thanks,
Kenny TV. He's doing a puppet show at the county fair, and he chases geese for a living.
I don't know about that.
And now he's going to be making a painting of it.
And my YouTube is One Brain TV.
Damn, Kenny is living my best life. Way to go, Kenny.
Kenny, thank you, man. You're great.
All right. Peace, guys.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you so much. There's nothing like an evening with Kenny.
I mean,
And now we gave him some new ideas too that he's gonna have to come through for.
well, just think about this. We had Kenny on for about 20 minutes. He led us on about why his YouTube got canceled on YouTube because he chases geese into the water. And then to top it all off, He's doing a puppet show at a county fair this week where he's getting paid $200. So if you want to see Kenny work the puppets, go to the county fair.
How do you find it? How do you find a job like that?
I don't know.
Who do you talk to, or that you know that go, hey, you want to do a puppet show? It's $200. What?
$200 for a puppet show? I'd do a puppet show for $200.
Oh, for $200, yeah. I mean, shit, why do I have a job? Why do I bother?
They still didn't explain the premise of what this puppet show is going to be, but he's making $200.
It is funny, man. He is.
I don't care what it is for $200.
He is.
We talk about Zach Wilson and his mom for $200.
There you go, man.
Yes, I'm sure you would.
I will say this: Kenny is a character. He absolutely is. Funny character. I bet you Jeff missed that whole thing. He missed the whole greatness of Kenny.
Oh, by the way, Slug, what did you think about my hypothetical of Miami Heat ends up on a cruise ship which docks in a lake that Kenny is chasing geese in? What would you say if that great hypothetical happens?
Could you imagine those two guys hang out?
That would be like, I would probably just drop dead on the spot for pure happiness. Like, wouldn't be able to believe
I couldn't.
that fortune had willed these things together.
Could you imagine those two guys hanging out together?
I'm pretty sure Miami Heat's in jail. I don't know that.
That's what Errol said too.
So I'm just alleging it. I'm relatively certain he's in jail down in Miami for doing something with power.
Either that or he went to Puerto Rico and he got lost there.
Either that or he just never made it back in the country.
That's probably true. I mean, he absolutely fell off the face of the earth. We haven't heard from him since Mikey C. I mean, it's been a long time.
Now, Snug, if that ends up being the case, do you think Miami Heat is smart enough to create aliases for himself?
Of course, Miami Heat's a professional career criminal. It's going to take him so long to get caught, right? So yeah, I'm sure that's exactly what he'll do.
Oh, I remember the story he used to tell us. He's running through the lots trying to find marijuana.
He was always drunk on the phone. Miami Heat was always hammered.
He was hammered every single time. Yeah, I have to say that.
And now you got Kenny high on a video feed.
I mean that by itself sold the whole show. I mean, Kenny chasing geese got thrown off of YouTube because he was chasing geese and trying to harm them. And then to top it all off, he's doing a puppet show at a county fair. Could you trying to please little kids? He's playing with puppets for $200. Kenny.
I still want to know the premise of this puppet show. He never explained it, and I'm disappointed.
He doesn't even know. He just got offered $200.
All right. Well, Kenny, next time you're on, you better explain what ended up happening with the puppet show.
He doesn't care. He's just going to read whatever they put in front of him.
Yeah, that's probably true.
If he could read it.
He wants the $200. That's all.
If he can read it.
I'll give him more trust in that than Miami Heat.
$200 and a trip to the dispensary. That's all he's looking for, man. You don't have to do much more than that. Keep Kenny happy.
Snug, thank you for calling, man.
All right, gentlemen. Have a fine evening.
Thank you. Snug. What a show. I mean, Kenny really made that show.
Of course.
I mean, we still have 40
triumphant
minutes.
return.
Oh my God.
And we got Slug to call, and he got his friend to come in for a little bit.
It's so interesting when you get these different personalities and they call the show, and it had nothing to do with sports, but it's funny. You know, it's listening to him. He's just hanging out, and you ask him silly questions, and not only was it silly, just listening to the craziness of his whole life story is just Kenny. That's it.
Kenny's life story. Chasing geese, puppet shows, and more.
Thank you, Kenny. Thank you for going back to the appeal of DeShaun Watson. What are your thoughts to the NFL and trying to argue this and trying to make this a full year suspension, which I think is ridiculous?
I don't think it'll end up being a full year suspension. I do think there will end up being some kind of compromise. Now, you look at what the settlement entailed of what the NFL was pushing on DeShaun Watson, where he was going to get fined either $8 to $10 million and suspended 12 games. I don't think it'll be that either. I think they're going to come to some kind of compromise. I said 10 games all along was going to be the suspension. So between 6 of what the initial ruling was after the court case, and 12, which is what they're pushing now, and for the full season. I think it'll come down to something of that nature, where either he gets fined less and suspended about 10 games, or he gets fined the same amount and suspended less games, maybe 8 games. I think they'll find some kind of compromise with all this. I don't think it'll be one direct legal thing that ends up being the case, because there's too many parties working against it. And like Ryan was saying, or Brendan was saying when we had him on, he is Roger Goodell does have a very strong ego when it comes to these types of cases, and he's going to want to stick his head in there and try to make it work so he can win. His brand can win, even if it actually doesn't. So that's what they're going to try to do. I think it'll ultimately end up with a compromise that we probably won't know for another 2
There's
weeks.
not going to be a compromise. It's going to be 6 games. There's no way they're going to change this ruling. The NFL is trying to obviously step in because they were embarrassed by DeShaun Watson. And DeShaun Watson pretty much got what he wanted. I told everybody it was going to be 6 to 8 games. It wasn't going to be any more than that because he wasn't convicted of anything. He wasn't convicted. And if you're not convicted of anything, there is no criminal case. So when you look at the past tense and some of the things that have happened, everybody says, well, Calvin Ridley, he got suspended for the year. That's betting on football. It's part of the game. It's part of the rules. You cannot bet on football. And that's why he was suspended for the whole year. And who was the other guy they were trying to compare it to that was suspended? And
Brady.
Was it Tom Brady?
Yeah, Brady was the one directly in the article that came out on Monday when this all happened. They were trying to use the merits of the court case with Tom Brady, and Ezekiel Elliott was the domestic violence case. The NFL versus courtrooms, usually the NFL still gets their way. And that's why Roger Goodell is trying to force all this. Brady still got suspended 4 games, even though he should have been suspended the season before, technically, not the 2016 season, because 15 is when it happened. And then Ezekiel Elliott got the 6 games in 2017 after that.
Yeah, I think what's going on right now is the NFL hate the fact that DeShaun Watson is laughing to the bank. That's what it is. He's laughing. He doesn't have to pay any money for fines to the NFL. They want 8 to 10 million, and they want it to be 12 games. There's no way DeShaun Watson's going to agree to that. There's no way.
No, and I think him rejecting the initial settlement, I think if he really cared that much, he would have taken it initially. The more it drags out, the more either one, he's not going to want it, or 2, the NFL is going to be a lot harder on it too. That might be just their minimum type thing of what they were trying to settle in. But DeShaun Watson has the money. It's obvious that he doesn't really care about it. And $8 to $10 million in a fine, maybe that's nothing to him. But the games, 12 games, is going to be
it's not the money. I don't think the money bothers DeShaun Watson. But why would he pay for it if he didn't? If he already paid off 20 of these women, and in looking at the big picture, he wasn't criminalized. He never did any criminal stuff. There's nothing that proves that he is going to jail for any of these criminal things that were obviously investigated. So if there's no criminal cases, he didn't beat up anybody, he didn't hurt anybody, he didn't do anything that really forced it upon anybody, because that's a fact, or it would have been a criminal case, then why should he be suspended for the season? It doesn't make sense.
And that's why I mentioned on the Weekend Crunch too, that this is as unique of a case as you can get. That's why I don't think the comparisons that Roger Goodell is trying to bring out, Tom Brady and Ezekiel Elliott and other domestic violence cases, Ray Rice in the past too, all that, I don't think it's really fair to judge in that sense, because it's just very weird.
How about Roger Goodell find a new job? How's that sound?
Yes, one can only hope, but that's not
I mean, how about that? I mean, if he doesn't like the fact that DeShaun Watson beat him, then go find another job. I mean, you're making $45 million a year or $50 million. I mean, what do you need another job for? You can retire right now.
Oh, sure.
You and your family don't have to worry about one penny anymore. So what are you complaining about?
One can only hope, but yeah.
I have nothing against the person of Roger Goodell. I don't know him as a person, but as a guy that runs an organization, as a guy that understands what it is to build an organization through endorsements and advertisements, why is it the fact that when you go up on stage, everybody in the world is booing? Okay.
And it's always going to be that way.
They do it with Gary Bettman too, but
not as much though.
I mean, Roger Goodell is not liked by anybody. And all the players that sit there and say that we like Roger, they don't like him. He'll do anything for the friggin' owners. He doesn't care about the players.
Right.
He cares about what the owners if the owners are happy, so he can get paid.
Right.
The owners are the negotiating deals. The owners are the one that's paying him. The owners are the one that's giving him full benefits for the rest of his life with his children. The owners are giving him his own jet. I mean, come on. He's an embarrassment.
Right.
And the organization as a whole, the NFL, yeah, they're a growing organization. They know what they're doing, obviously, through endorsements and advertisements. But me and Speedy can run endorsements and advertisements and bring in top-end companies to promote through endorsements.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that it's not really.
It's the biggest game in sports.
I was going to say there's too many outside things where you can't really just give Roger Goodell all the credit for that. Something like betting and fantasy and other stuff that have made the game bigger is not all him. Yeah, some of it is him, but yeah, there are other commissioners that could have done that. They could have had all the other past commissioners could have realized the digital trend of today and gotten the NFL TV deals and the NFL Sunday Ticket.
Commissioner
Errol,
Errol, how's that sound? I like the ring to that.
Yeah, go for it. At this point, why not?
How about this? Commissioner Marks. I like that.
There you go.
Flows off the tongue. Okay. Roger, we'll give you, we'll give you a settlement. All right. You could take your 48 million this year and your 48 million next year and get the hell out of here.
Right. Because I think the way the game is growing with social media and all that stuff, I would have done that massively anyway with the popularity of the sport. We were talking about it with Darren Bennett too, how popular it is internationally now in Australia where he is, also in Europe too, that it's getting more attractiveness to the game, which is going to happen anyway. It happened naturally in other sports too. And football, obviously it's the hardest thing to do because it's very strictly American to start, but now it's expanded a lot more where it's going to happen that way. So all those other factors, you're not going to be able to completely give credit to Roger Goodell just for that. Now, Roger Goodell, in the sense of this too, trying to quote unquote save his brand, I don't think you're going to do that anyway, no matter what the ruling is. There's going to be somebody that is going to be unhappy with the ruling, whether it's DeShaun Watson himself, whether it's the Browns, whether it's a lot of these fans, if he doesn't get suspended for a certain amount of games. Yeah, somebody's going to be unhappy with this. And you can't just compensate to the owners all the time.
Basketball news. Could Kevin Durant rescind his trade request and stay with the Nets? Speedy, what do you got on this one?
I didn't believe it at first because I did think Phoenix and Miami were definitely teams that were going to push hard, but at this point, there's just too many other circumstances that I don't think bode well for those teams to make it happen now. We've had many basketball guests that have said DeAndre Ayton is not eligible now to be traded until January because they couldn't get a legitimate offer. It was an offer sheet. So now, as a result of that, you're going to really take less to do that, and the Nets aren't going to do that. The Heat, they have a lot of stipulations now with Tyler Hero. They don't want to trade Bam Adebayo now. That just came out today. They put him off limits now in any Kevin Durant trade. So for whatever reason. So I think that's out now too. So it looks more and more like he's going to stay a Brooklyn Net and rescind his trade offer at this point.
Yeah, I think and I'll say it again. It makes a lot of sense that Kyrie, Kevin, and Ben stay on a team at least early this season and see what these three guys could do together. And if it doesn't work out by the trade deadline, you move on from two of these guys, 2 out of the 3.
Right.
You keep Ben Simmons because nobody wants him. You trade Kevin Durant for as much as you possibly can get. Kyrie Irving as much as you possibly. Maybe Kyrie shuts up for the season, plays well, and then you could trade him and get as much as you possibly can for him because
Kyrie shutting up. Nah, that can't happen.
Well, as of right now, it doesn't happen. But I think it makes a lot of sense for Kyrie to stay there and try to, build his draft stock. I mean, his trade stock. Right. And then you trade him. It makes a lot of sense. Sean Marks has to sit down with all 3 of these guys and explain to them that we can win with you 3. We're actually on paper with us 3 if we play together as good as any team in the Eastern Conference.
Right.
So it makes a lot of sense for them to stay together. The question is, will they?
Yeah, and the other thing too is they can try to go with a different approach in the season too if they realize this team can be a contender too. We've seen we saw the Lakers on their championship team add some veteran guys to help out their depth later. And the Nets tried that approach at the start of last season when they brought in LaMarcus Aldridge. They still had Blake Griffin, but they brought in all these other veterans, Patty Mills, to make it work. But that experiment didn't work for a longer season. But who says in a shorter season, let's say the young players carry the load for the first half of the season, the Nets play well, assuming all 3 of them actually play in their games. Kevin Durant's missed a lot because of injury. Ben Simmons has missed a lot because of his antics, and Kyrie Irving his antics. So if they do play well enough, let's say the Nets are 27-13 40 games into the season. Then there'll be some veterans that could be available to trade, that could be affordable. The Nets don't have the first round picks, so maybe they could do it for second round picks or future picks or even young players on their roster at that point if they emerge and evolve the way they should.
Well, look, it's Josh McDaniels' father. How wonderful.
Uh-huh.
His face is on the TV screen. Just the magic. The magic in the McDaniels, aren't they?
The magic in the McDaniels.
Can you believe in magic? You like that song?
Well, maybe the Raiders will get some. We'll say.
Do you like that song, Magic?
Yeah.
You like that?
Pretty good. It's a pretty good song.
If we played that right now, could you sing the song?
No. I don't know all the lyrics that well.
Well, what song do you know with all the lyrics?
What song do I know with all the lyrics?
Mm-hmm.
That is a good question. I could, let's see, probably have to be like a new wave song, like an 80s new wave song. Probably would have to be one of those. I don't know. I don't know if there's any song I know exactly all the lyrics. There used to be a game show for that. When I was a kid, I forget the name of it.
There's a game show on, I think, right now on Netflix.
Oh, there is there where you're trying to guess
Name
lyrics?
that tune.
Yeah, no, this one I think you had to like get a certain amount of lyrics, or you fill in like 6 lyrics or something. It was on. I liked it as a kid. I didn't know a lot of the songs. It was interesting you brought that up though too. I think Name That Tune is something else where you actually like have to listen to like the audio. Wasn't it the one that Mikey C was watching last time he was here?
Mikey C is in his own little.
Because I know he was watching all those like music shows and like game shows.
Mikey C is in Mexico right now.
Oh, is he?
With his son? Yes.
Wow.
Yes, good old
Mexico.
Mikey C.
Mexico.
Well, Cancuni.
Cancuni.
He's over there, playing with the daffodils.
Sure, we'll go with that. Yes, daffodils that can grow in the hot desert.
That's
Mexico.
right. Daffodillies.
Sluck says, I hope Kyrie jumps on Kenny's Twitter and shares the truth. Would Darren Bennett enjoy an evening with Kenny? That is like, I have no idea.
Absolutely
I would not give that much of a shot.
No.
Maybe
He
Goodell.
probably kicked the hell out of him. That's
Oh,
about it.
definitely. I wouldn't doubt that. Well, not with his knee, his leg injury right now.
Well,
but-
both knees actually.
Right,
knee
his
surgery in
yeah,
both.
right. But yes, once he gets healthy again, Darren will definitely be able to kick the what out of Kenny. Maybe Goodell could do puppet shows at county fairs.
Maybe that's a good idea.
Sure, I help lure the geese in, and cupcakes are the best. Yes, we know you love cupcakes.
That's a good idea, actually. Goodell being a puppet at the fair. That would be good.
A Roger Goodell themed puppet.
There you
Here's
go.
my decision on the NFL.
You're fired. Boom.
Goodbye. Oh, you're suspended. No.
Thank you,
You're out of
Roger.
there too, Roger. Goodbye.
Thank you, Roger. Farewell, Roger.
The entire county fair would be in great applause. Roger Goodell is no longer the
Hasta
commissioner
la
of the
vista,
NFL.
Roger. Anyways.
Yes, I'd much rather have Arnold Schwarzenegger as commissioner. I agree.
Knicks and the 76ers officially being investigated for tampering in reference of the free agency signings. We knew this was going on. It's been going on since the Jalen Brunson thing. I do know that the right now I think the 76ers are dealing with the tampering with the whole James Harden thing.
Yes.
With the Nets and all that other stuff. So it's not crazy to think, and I don't think any of these teams are going to lose first round draft picks. I don't. But I do believe they're going to be fined. And I don't know how deep this is, but I do believe that Jalen Brunson was definitely tampered with the Knicks, because it doesn't make sense that last year, being that at the end of the season, they brought in Jalen Brunson's father to sign him as a scout or part of the coaching squad. And then all of a sudden the year after, or, a couple of weeks after, or months after, they get Jalen Brunson to take less money to come to New York. So that's not a coinky dink. Okay. So I do believe there's some truth to it. I think the league has to investigate it. When they do, they're going to find these teams. And I think it's going to happen. I think both the Knicks and the 76ers are going to pay a high price fine. I don't think the Knicks care, because James Dolan's one of the richest men in the world. And I'm sure over there with the 76ers, they have a very rich man too. So
Right. We'll say when that's the
I don't think a couple $100,000 is going to really bother them.
Yeah, I think both those situations definitely look fishy. James Harden, with his whole contract dispute, he ended up taking less eventually. Maybe that was to cover the tracks of this kind of thing too, because James Harden, if he wants to commit to that, is not going to want to get the organization in trouble either, where they're going to lose all that stuff. Yes, they'll lose money, but if they don't lose players or draft rights to something, or even the rights to be able to move these players and make good trades to help the 76ers grow, they're not going to want to have that kind of thing. So maybe James Harden could be fishy covering his tracks. He took less to do so. Maybe he'll get more on a bigger contract. Who knows? But the Knicks, the Knicks weren't really hiding their tracks at all. You saw those guys at the Mavericks game scouting out Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson. Julius Randle was doing all his nonsense that he loves to do and trying to, I guess, recruit these players too. So it's definitely not surprising. I don't know if he'll get any individual punishment in addition to the front office getting theirs, but yeah, I would definitely imagine there's going to be some kind of hefty fine. Hopefully the Knicks don't lose draft picks as a result of this. I don't know. We saw Miami just lose a first and a third, the Dolphins. But again, that's a different sport, so we'll see what happens. Maybe Adam Silver's a little more lenient with that kind of thing, but let's hope they don't, because the Knicks have a lot of draft stock, so let's hope they don't.
And last story before we go, the Islanders are one of the 3 finalists to land Nazem Kadri. Okay. Right now, Lou Lamoriello is getting attacked all over social media. All the Islander fans are attacking Lou because he hasn't done anything all offseason. The Rangers made a couple of moves, lost a couple of players, but made a couple of moves. They added a player of high magnitude, especially a center that can win faceoffs and all that other stuff. The Islanders sitting, the only big move they made was with a defenseman in the first round of this year's draft, where Islander fans were having a heart attack because they made that move for the 13th pick. And what Lou was saying in the offseason, going into the offseason, is that they need to find more offense. They need to find a goal scorer to help out the first line. They struck out on Johnny Gaudreau. They struck out on the Matthew Tkachuk, thank God. And now you're going to the last familiar name in Nazem Kadri, who's a good offensive player. He really is. Is he a superstar player? No. But is he a goal scorer? Could he give the Islanders that goal scoring help in the first line? Yes, I would have liked to see Johnny Gaudreau. I would have liked to see one of those highly profiled offensive players. But right now, there's nobody available. And the only person that's available in free agency, and one of the main reasons why he didn't sign, because he wants to get the most money, being that there are 3 teams a bidding war against him. The Isles, the Avalanche, and the Red Wings. The bidding award, Speedy, the bidding award goes to who? It goes to Kadri. He could take the most money. And I wouldn't want to be a Red Wing, okay, because they're horrible. So I would count out the Red Wings. I don't think he's going there. So it's either his old team or the Islanders. The Islanders are a borderline playoff team going into the offseason when healthy, having a full home games at home. Once the season starts, and you don't have to wait until the second month to see a home game. And the Islanders have some good young players. So you can, you could be put on with a very well-known defensive machine that needs offense.
Yeah.
Or you can go to the Avalanche.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think Detroit, with where they're at right now, will probably have to overpay a little for Nazem Kadri. The Avalanche, if he were to go back there, he might take less because he knows that the Avalanche are going to have to pay people too, because their team is young and obviously just won the Stanley Cup, so they're going to be very good for a while. So they're going to have to give big money to a lot of their young players. So the Islanders are kind of in between, where I think they have some expectations for sure. They should be more talented than they played last season, but we know the circumstances. They didn't have the home games. They had all the COVID issues. So again, Nazem Kadri knows that the Islanders are still going to be a desirable destination. Now, you also mentioned, though, too, that the Islanders probably were more pursuing speed wing types, and I think that's still where they have to lean. Now, there's going to be plenty of other guys that could be available from the Western Conference. I've heard the Sharks are trying to trade some guys as well. Maybe Timo Meier is a guy that the Islanders could go after too. Vancouver has been dangling not Brock Besser, JT Miller as another option, which we've heard for the Islanders. And Arizona has been trying to purge everybody at this point. So those are other options. I think Kadri is not as much what they would need, but if he wants to go there, it's definitely helpful for the Islanders to get some goal scoring prowess. I think they need more of wing depth, speed guys. I don't know at 31 years old how much Kadri is going to help in the speed department. And that's why I think either the Avalanche will take him on less, or Detroit might even overpay for him. They've been aggressive this offseason. Andrew Kopp, David Perron helped that out. They had a good young Ben Sherrod is a good defenseman, so they got options. They're trying to keep Dylan Larkin here. He's been dangling in trade rumors a lot, so if they want to keep him, they could add some more guys.
And that's it for our show, ladies and gentlemen. We're ending a little bit early today. We had a great show. Thank you to Kenny. Thank you to all the different guests that we had. Brendan Walker, Ryan Noonan. They were fantastic. It's a great show.
Yes.
And we got through all the different segments we're going to get. And I'll tell you this, there's not a lot of sports right now, but it's coming. Obviously the NFL is right around the corner. Preseason starts next week fully. And we're going to be talking about all these different teams. We got the major leagues, playoff, and all that different things coming up. And then basketball and hockey right around the corner. Once summer's over, it's going to be fun. Right. It really is going to be fun to talk about it. So thank you to all the different people, guests that we had. Brendan Walker, who loved it. Ryan Noonan, that loved it. We had Kenny and all the craziness with Kenny and Steven Rudderman, and it's been great. It was a great show, and we'll be back next Tuesday doing a full show. We will be switching our show to Wednesday, probably in the next 2 weeks. Wednesday, 7 to 10, and then we're going to be doing Thursday, the late night, 9 to 12. So we're going to do one late show and one early show moving forward when the winter starts, so after the summer. So it'll be 7 to 10 on Wednesday and 9 to 12 on Thursday, back-to-back days. Like we did, but it'll be a little bit early on Wednesday, so a lot of the young kids can actually tune in and listen to us before they go to sleep, when they go back to school. So it'll be fun. Definitely looking forward to it. That's it. Listen to the Weekend Crunch every single Saturday on 103.9 FM here on Long Island. If you're not living on Long Island, check it out on iHeartRadio. Just look up 103.9 FM Long Island News Radio. That's it. Speedy, you have anything to say before we go?
I'll just preview next week on Tuesday. We have former Raiders, Rams, and Saints wide receiver Mark Pattison. He's also interesting. He's an award winner too, and he also was one of the guys. He also was a guy that climbed Mount Everest, which is a very interesting thing. He's got an exhibition, so he'll be on at 9:30, and then returning to the show at 10 p.m. on Tuesday is Suns TV broadcaster and Cowboys national radio play-by-play broadcaster Kevin Ray.
I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Kevin.
and
Nice.
he actually next week he'll be going to Cowboys training camp, so he'll have some inside scoops.
Oh, how wonderful!
Yes, the Beav will love it
if he's listening.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So definitely stay tuned. We have great shows lined up for Tuesday and Thursday. Good night, everybody.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.